A stern employer outlines strict requirements for his new secretary, demanding total availability and synchronization of their schedules. A sudden, quick swish sounds as the man's red tie is loosened, revealing his chest during the interview. The gray-haired man, Xiao, stands stunned as his employer demands he always wear a matching red tie. Tensions rise as the dark-haired boss leans in close, catching the gray-haired secretary off guard with a final, unexpected demand. The boss coolly asserts his authority, adding new rules on a whim and challenging Secretary Xiao to oppose him. With his shirt open and tie hanging loose, Xiao realizes he must always be prepared for his boss's unpredictability. A heavy silence fills the space as the boss looms over Xiao, his proximity creating a nervous, charged atmosphere. The scene shifts to the bustling Shibuya City district, where the corporate day begins at the Grand Office Building. Quick beep sounds fill the air as frustrated employees cram into a dangerously overloaded elevator, each desperate to be on time. From the back of the crowd, a hand reaches out as someone pleads for a path through the wall of people. Xiao prepares himself for the day, his ID card confirming his high-pressure role as the CEO's primary secretary. The moment he enters, a chaotic wave of requests hits Xiao as staff members clamor for his immediate attention. Xiao multitasks with clinical efficiency, solving technical glitches and approving quarterly reports in a frantic blur of office activity. A sudden, sharp wah sounds as Xiao jumps into action to help a pregnant colleague during an emergency. Buzz sounds echo as Xiao becomes a busy bee, tirelessly answering every obscure question thrown his way by the staff. Xiao finally sits down, exhaling a sigh of relief as his meticulously planned morning schedule successfully falls into place. Mo Yangchuan, the intimidating heir of the Mo Electronics Group, takes his seat and begins questioning the latest conference proposal. In the boardroom, Secretary Xiao professionally offers to revise the plans, but President Mo Yangchuan remains strangely satisfied. Mo Yangchuan leans back with a calculated gaze, admitting he holds his secretary to a much higher standard than others. Xiao feels the stifling pressure of his boss's presence, imagining himself as a tiny, helpless bee in the man's hand. During the reports, President Mo appears remarkably diligent, focused entirely on his notebook as he takes careful, handwritten notes. Watching his boss work, Xiao momentarily forgets Mo's vile reputation, impressed by the man's apparent dedication to the meeting. Xiao stands ready at the table, responding immediately when his employer calls upon him at the end of the session. Confusion sets in for Xiao when Mo demands his presence for no clear reason, citing it as a secretarial duty. A quick slide sounds as Mo stands to dismiss the room, ordering Xiao to finish a complex report in 10 minutes. Curiosity gets the better of Xiao when he spots the boss's notebook, sparking a moral debate between his inner angel and devil. A series of quick flip sounds follow as Xiao gives in to temptation, opening the notebook to see Mo's notes. Xiao is bewildered to find a crude, unflattering doodle of Manager Tang instead of professional business meeting notes. Turning the page, he discovers another clumsy drawing, this time depicting Xiao Wang from the planning department in the same ugly style. A frantic scribble sounds as Xiao's horror grows. His boss wasn't taking notes at all, only drawing hideous portraits of staff. Shocked by the realization, Xiao stares at the messy pages, realizing he had completely misjudged his employer's secret meeting habits. Despite his disgust at the art style, more flip sounds occur as Xiao's curiosity compels him to keep searching the notebook. Xiao's face pales in absolute disbelief as he reaches the final pages, his mouth hanging open in pure shock. His heart sinks as he finds page after page dedicated to drawings of himself, all sketched by the boss's hand. A soft ha sounds from a thought bubble as Xiao views a scandalous drawing of himself lying shirtless on a bed. The secretary's face burns with embarrassment as he sees an even more provocative, focused drawing of his own lower body. He finds a particularly bizarre sketch of himself with foam on his nose, accompanied by a request for his boss to lick it off. Mo Yanchuan clutches his head in a fit of intense blushing, mortified by the reality of his secret desires being exposed. Outside the corporate headquarters, the bright sun shines over the skyline as the workday takes an unexpected turn. Xiaoru overhears his colleagues gossiping about a stray cat named Lele and the cold-hearted man who wants it removed. Inside the office, President Mo Yangchuan remains heartless, ordering that the rescued cat be expelled from the building by evening. Secretary Zhao Ruo steps in with a kind smile, offering to find an animal shelter for the cat while his co-workers sob with gratitude. Feeling satisfied with his good deed, Xiaoru looks at his phone, confident that the stray cat will be safely rehomed. Mo Yangchuan makes a call from the street level, waiting at an intersection for his ride after a long day. Mo Yanchuan's attention is caught by a small wooden box left abandoned on a nearby ledge outside the building. He peers inside to find several tiny hamsters huddling together under a sign, begging for someone to take them home. Mo Yangchuan scowls at the box, judging the owner for being inconsiderate while questioning why anyone would find the silly creatures cute. Mo Yangchuan leans in close to a shivering hamster, bluntly calling the tiny creature ugly, despite its innocent, wide-eyed look. Quick scurry and nom sounds follow as the hyperactive hamster ignores the insult, busily eating seeds while its companions stay still. A sharp snap sounds as a photo is taken of the boss secretly caring for the animals, proving he's just like Xiaoru. 10 minutes ago, the gray-haired secretary hides as Mo Yanchuan kneels by a box of stray hamsters. Secretary Zhao Ruo realizes his boss views him like a hamster, someone performing meaningless tasks repeatedly. Looking troubled, President Mo gently holds one of the tiny creatures in the palm of his hand. His cold expression softens slightly as he asks if anyone would like to adopt the shivering animal. A young girl eagerly offers to help, suggesting they split the group of abandoned hamsters between them. Mo Yangchuan's face turns pale with dread as he realizes he might actually have to take one home. He rants about the burdens of pet ownership, calling the creatures dirty, ugly, and full of diseases. Despite his harsh words, the black-haired man continues his lecture while Xiaoru listens intently from the shadows. Bound by the ropes of morality, Mo Yanchuan finds himself unable to refuse the little girl's sparkling eyes. Later that evening, Mo Yanchuan warns the hamster to stay in its box or face being made into soup. A quick climb sounding follows as the hyperactive creature ignores his threats and scrambles onto his dinner bowl. President Mo scolds the wretched furball, picking it up before it can contaminate his meal with its tiny paws. During his workout, Mo Yanchuan is interrupted as the hamster begins a frantic run on the moving treadmill. A sudden, loud step sounds as the boss trips over the tiny creature and falls. A heavy thump sounds as Mo Yangchuan hits the floor, glaring at the innocent hamster sitting before him. He rants at the animal, demanding it stop chewing on wires and crawling into his coffee cups. Lying in bed, Mo Yanchuan stares at his new roommate, wondering why he ever brought the creature home. The next morning at work, Xiaoru notices his boss looks exhausted and pale from a sleepless night. While smoking, Mo Yanchuan is haunted by the image of the hamster, needing a moment of peace. He turns away sharply, telling the lingering thoughts of his new pet to finally stop following him. Preparing for a grand banquet, Secretary Xiaoruo meticulously inspects the room and thanks the hardworking staff. He goes through a mental checklist, ensuring the dishes, registration, seating, and alcohol are all perfectly arranged. The staff whispers in fear, terrified they will be fired by the president if the customers are unhappy. Relief washes over the employees when they see Xiaoru, knowing his presence ensures the event's success. The gray-haired secretary smiles confidently, assuring the team that everything should proceed without any major problems. His attention is caught by a small, crooked painting that disrupts the room's perfect, symmetrical aesthetic. A quick adjust sounds as Zhao Ruo carefully straightens the frame, his perfectionist nature taking full control. He stands satisfied until an angry woman's voice echoes through the hall, demanding answers about a breakup. Startled by the sudden drama, Xiao Ruo turns to see who is making such a public scene. A purple-haired woman in a crop top argues heatedly, her voice rising as she explains her reasons. She points her finger aggressively, her face twisted in a scowl as she continues her public verbal assault. Xiao Ru and his colleagues gape in shock, their mouths hanging open at the woman's scandalous behavior. As a screen is pulled aside, the atmosphere shifts abruptly when President Mo Yanchuan is revealed standing nearby. Xiao Ru is paralyzed with fear, wondering exactly how long his boss has been standing there listening. Panic sets in for the secretary as he realizes the president is directly involved in the unfolding drama. The scene shifts to an overhead view of a formal dinner, where clients sit in awkward silence. Tensions remain high as the male clients sweat under the pressure of the president's dark, brooding presence. A female client smiles nervously while her companion gulps down water, trying to survive the stifling atmosphere. Mo Yangchuan sits at the head of the table, his grim expression casting a shadow over the entire room. Xiao Ruo's heart pounds as he worries his career is over after witnessing the boss's private domestic dispute. A dark aura emanates from the black-haired president, making the entire room feel heavy and incredibly dangerous. A waiter finally arrives to serve the red wine, hoping to break the thick, uncomfortable silence. Xiao Ruo's eyes widen in absolute horror as he notices the waiter's incredibly unprofessional and clumsy service. He mentally critiques the server's many errors, from the bottle's label placement to his improper physical distance. Stepping in with a polite smile, Xiao Ruo takes the bottle and orders the waiter to fetch sobriety supplies. He begins an elaborate pouring ritual, demonstrating his superior skill while explaining the proper way to handle wine. Surrounded by roses, the secretary details the importance of offering the host a sample before serving others. Xiao Ruo presents the glass to President Mo with grace, his professional expertise completely transforming the room's energy. A heavy silence follows his performance as the clients and staff stare in awe at his perfect execution. Mo Yanchuan drinks in silence while his secretary is hailed as a super idol for his flawless performance. Secretary Zhao Ruo takes over the service, skillfully pouring wine for President Mo to maintain the banquet's professional atmosphere. After the event, the tan-haired secretary slumps in a chair, his tie loosened from the evening's intense corporate stress. Mo Yanchuan approaches his exhausted employee, looking down at the man who sacrificed his sobriety to protect the company. A sudden, loud stand sounding echoes as the drunk secretary salutes wildly, shocking his boss with his uncharacteristic behavior. Xiao Ruo leads the way out, cheerfully announcing he has already called a taxi to take the president home. Stumbling through the hall, the secretary's perfectionism flares up when he spots a slightly crooked painting on the wall. Mo Yangchuan watches in confusion as his drunken secretary ignores his orders and tries to straighten the lopsided frame. The tan-haired man pouts, frustrated that the artwork refuses to stay level despite his many repetitive and clumsy efforts. He rants about art and the Leaning Tower of Pisa, convinced the boss thinks he lacks culture and sophistication. Mo Yanchuan realizes his secretary is completely wasted as the man apologizes profusely for becoming a total laughingstock tonight. A chibi flashback reveals the secretary drank far more than he could handle to shield his employer from guests. A loud, frantic jump sounding follows as Xiao Ruo demands soy milk from the back seat of the taxi. The scene shifts to a convenience store, where a vomit sounding is heard while the boss waits patiently outside. Mo Yanchuan warns the secretary not to overdo it as the man stubbornly chugs a cup of soy milk. The black-haired man supports his drunken employee, ordering the driver to head home and clean the car tomorrow. As they ride, Zhao Ruo slowly drifts closer to the boss until he eventually falls asleep on his employer's shoulder. Back in the car, the secretary's energetic demands for more soy milk create a chaotic and noisy traveling atmosphere. Mo Yangchuan grits his teeth, counting down the tiny distance as the secretary continues to lean into his personal space. The evening transitions to the quiet, brightly lit luxury apartment complex where the wealthy president makes his home. Inside the bedroom, Mo Yangchuan checks on the secretary, who mutters incoherent and thirsty nonsense from the plush bed. A tiny squeak sounding from the hamster cage distracts the boss just before a sharp pull sounding brings him close. Xiao Rou gazes up with hazy eyes, holding the president's tie, as the atmosphere between them turns heavy. The tan-haired man lies back with his shirt open, exposing his chest as he stares dazed at his employer. A heavy oof sounding follows as the drunk secretary pulls the president onto the bed with him, unexpectedly. He boldly declares that it is his personal time now, and he intends to do whatever he wants tonight. Xiao Rou challenges his boss's legendary confidence, daring the black-haired man to finally make a move on him. The secretary grabs Mo Yanchuan's shirt, pulling him close while the boss blushes with intense, long-hidden corporate desire. Mo Yanchuan is mortified by the secretary's aggressive flirting, desperately wishing for his reserved and professional employee to return. He gazes down at the dazed man, his internal struggle visible as he fights his growing attraction to the secretary. Mo Yangchuan finally gives in to his feelings, leaning down to capture his secretary's lips in a deep kiss. The room falls silent as the two men share a long, romantic kiss under the warm glow of bedroom lights. Xiao Rou looks up with hazy eyes, questioning why the heartless president isn't pushing him away this time. A quick grab sounding follows as the secretary pulls the boss back into a second, more passionate bedroom embrace. Their passion ignites as the secretary climbs into the boss's lap, neither of them wanting to stop the encounter. Xiao Rou asks if they should proceed further, his hand resting on the boss's chest while Mo Yanchuan gulps. A frantic, heavy badum sounding follows as the secretary kisses the boss's neck, leaving a visible, lasting mark behind. Mo Yangchuan decides to take the secretary's silence as consent, pulling the tan-haired man closer into the heat. I cannot read that text. Is there something else I can help you with? The next morning, Secretary Zhao Rou professionally presents documents to President Mo, acting as if nothing happened at all. President Mo remains stoic and cold, ordering his secretary to leave the collaborative work on the large desk. The black-haired man dismisses him formally, his professional facade hiding any memory of their wild, intimate night together. A sharp fold sounding follows as Mo Yanchuan self-consciously adjusts his collar to hide the hickey on his neck. Xiao Rou is heartbroken, realizing the boss seems to have no recollection of their intimate night together at all. Mo Yanchuan sits in his massive office, staring out at the clear blue sky in quiet, brooding corporate silence. Back at his desk, the secretary is haunted by the morning's cold reception, wondering why Mo seems so unfazed. Xiao Rou stares blankly at his computer screen, his mind spiraling with confusion over his boss's heartless behavior. A sudden, sharp ding-dong sounding from his phone catches the president's attention while he sits at his desk. Mo Yanchuan checks a notification, his expression remaining completely unreadable as he reviews the latest updates on his screen. Xiao Rou breaks into a frantic sweat, wondering if he was just seeing things when he spotted the mark. He is plagued by a splitting headache and blurry memories of waking up naked next to his sleeping boss. President Mo Yanchuan stares intently at his phone, frowning at the confusing trending search results appearing on his screen. During a board meeting, staff members discuss replacing their brand ambassador due to malicious comments affecting their new product. Tensions rise as the black-haired president demands to know who authorized the damaging public announcement about the artist's contract. Tan-haired Secretary Xiao Ruo warns that confirming the replacement would turn public opinion against the company's original arrangements. Xiao Ru proposes a strategic guest appearance on a cooking variety show to provide the artist with more media exposure. The board members are delighted by Xiao Ruo's brilliant plan, while the secretary humbly dismisses their high corporate praise. Distracted by memories of their intimate night, the secretary questions who the real Mo Yanchuan is under his facade. Xiao Ruo remains buried in work at his laptop, still trying to reconcile the cold boss with his memories. Mo Yanchuan agrees with the secretary's suggestion, giving the final order to proceed as the boardroom meeting comes to a close. The president mentions that their night was consensual, leaving Xiao Ru and his companion stunned into a silent, sparkling daze. A heavy silence fills the meeting room as Mo Yanchuan abruptly asks if the staff is finally finished talking. Memories of a passionate kiss flash through the air, while the black-haired man clears his throat to regain professional focus. Panels illustrate Xiao Ruo's steady, calm, and outgoing work performance as he manages multiple corporate tasks throughout the day. A gloomy aura surrounds Mo Yanchuan as he sits alone on his couch, looking frustrated with his tie loosened. Panic sets in after a loud crash, bang, and thump sounding as the president frantically searches for his missing pet. Mo Yanchuan worries that a cleaner might have accidentally thrown out his little rascal while searching through the home. He smokes a cigarette while desperately calling to locate his hamster, describing the small creature as really ugly and vulnerable. Under the night sky, the wealthy president searches through the bushes outside his luxury apartment complex for his lost pet. Secretary Xiao Ruo suddenly appears under a streetlight, holding the lost hamster safely in his hands for the president. Panels show the secretary's hand searching through the garden bushes as he wonders where the little creature could have gone. Xiao Ruo explains he stopped by to return forgotten keys, while the president internally notes how well he knows the address. The two men stand together in the dark evening, the air between them thick with unspoken tension and heavy memories. Xiao Ru suggests they return to their professional roles and both forget everything that happened between them the previous night. They stand apart in the garden, the physical distance between them reflecting the secretary's desire to maintain a corporate boundary. Mo Yanchuan agrees that their night was just an accident between adults, though his expression remains shadowed and deeply unreadable. The president stubbornly denies owning such a creature until Xiao Ru offers to set the dangerous hamster free instead. Caught in his lie, Mo Yanchuan finally admits ownership as the secretary promises to keep his boss's soft secret hidden. A rare look of gentle affection crosses the president's face as he gazes down at the tiny hamster in his hand. Xiao Ruo watches his boss silently, seemingly surprised by the unexpected vulnerability shown by the usually cold black-haired man. In a prompt-in-response chibi moment, the secretary questions the hamster's name, only to realize the president is lying again. The scene shifts to the vast, luxury interior of Mo Yanchuan's high-ceilinged apartment as the evening continues in quiet solitude. Secretary Xiao Ruo sits alone on the plush sofa, patiently holding the hamster while he waits for the president's return. Looking toward the balcony, the secretary wonders where his employer has gone and why he is taking so long upstairs. A dazed memory of an intimate night flashes back as Xiao Ruo asks a bold, sexual question to his employer. A loud, painful thump sounding follows as the president accidentally bangs his head while searching for something behind a desk. Xiao Ruo quickly applies a cold soda can from the fridge to the president's forehead to help soothe the injury. The secretary looks down with a concerned expression, observing that the swelling on the boss's head is not going down. Mo Yanchuan takes the cold can into his own hand, insisting he can handle the injury himself without further assistance. As the secretary walks away, a loud growl sounding from his stomach breaks the silent tension of the luxury room. A chibi Xiaoro scolds his own stomach for failing to read the heavy atmosphere during such a delicate moment. President Mo puts on an apron and begins prepping healthy ingredients, scolding the secretary for only eating instant noodles. Xiao Ruo freezes in shock as he wonders exactly how the boss knew what he ate for dinner earlier today. Mo Yangchuan looks back with a dark, brooding expression, explaining that the scent of the noodles was simply too strong. A loud crunch sounding follows as the president bites into a carrot, while the secretary apologizes for his lack of mindfulness. Panels show the black-haired man's skillful hands chopping fresh tomatoes and boiling spaghetti with precise, professional culinary expertise. A sizzle sounding rises from the pan as the president cooks dinner while his secretary watches from behind in awe. Xiao Ru realizes that his boss is a surprisingly skilled chef who knows far more than just boiling water. A quick stick sounding occurs as the secretary presses the cold can against the cooking president's forehead once more. Mo Yingtran pauses in confusion while Xiaoru explains he is just worried about the injury losing its cooling contact. Their eyes meet in a tense, silent close-up, the unspoken feelings between boss and employee lingering in the quiet kitchen. Xiao Ru holds the cold can to Mo Yangchuan's forehead as the president skillfully finishes their dinner. A shimmering close-up reveals a plate of perfectly prepared spaghetti, garnished with fresh, vibrant green basil leaves. Xiao Ru is visibly stunned, his eyes widening in shock as he experiences the incredible flavor of the meal. In a divine-themed vision, the secretary praises the heavenly dish, while chibi angels celebrate the president's cooking skills. While raving about the extraordinary dish, the secretary is bluntly told that no salary increase will be granted. Eating the meal, Zhao Ru wonders if the boss is acting unusually or perhaps a bit drunk tonight. Mo Yanchuan reveals he used alcohol in the recipe, questioning if the small amount will affect his secretary. In an intimate whisper, Xiao Ru leans in to promise he won't tell anyone about their shared night. A loud bang sounding echoes as the scene shifts to Xiao Ru frantically bursting into a hospital room. He finds his silver-haired friend, Huang Haoyu, resting comfortably in bed and demanding that the secretary peel fruit. The atmosphere turns awkward as Xiaoru realizes his friend is perfectly fine despite the earlier emergency phone call. While peeling apples, the secretary complains that the phone report made his friend's condition sound like a life-threatening crisis. Xiaoru questions how Hao Yu passed out from overwork while the silver-haired man sweats and looks suspiciously guilty. A frantic shake sounding follows as Xiaoro scolds Haoyu for his lack of common sense regarding his health. Haoyu insists his exhaustion was for something vital, though the secretary remains deeply skeptical of his friend's true motives. Xiao Ruo imagines dark scenarios involving thugs or debt collectors to explain the mystery behind his friend's hospitalization. The truth comes out as Haoyu admits he spent the week gaming, sacrificing sleep and food to win. Chibi panels illustrate Haoyu's victory screen while he admits he forgot to take even a sip of water. The secretary's expression turns terrifyingly dark as he processes the utterly ridiculous reason for his friend's medical emergency. Despite his simmering anger, Xiao Ruo continues preparing the apple slices while Haoyu remains oblivious to the danger. Haoyu requests more food, causing the secretary to question why he is being treated like a delivery service. His friend gossips about a colleague's high school one-night stand, completely unaware of the secretary's own recent secret night. Haoyu comments on how awkward such encounters are, causing the secretary to react with a suspicious, sudden silence. The dark aura around Xiao Ru intensifies as he checks his phone while his friend continues chatting about romance. When asked to eat, Xiao Ru reveals he already had dinner, sparking his friend's immediate and intense curiosity. A quick ding-sounding notification arrives as Xiao Ru admits he ate at the president's house, stunning his friend. Haoyu stares in disbelief, sensing a major secret after hearing that the secretary was at Mo Yanchuan's home. The silver-haired man aggressively demands to know why the secretary had keys to the boss's luxury apartment. A firm press sounding follows as Xiaoro tries to silence his friend, who senses a massive change. Hao Yu uses his chopsticks to tease the secretary's subtle expression, determined to force out the hidden corporate truth. With a smug look, the silver-haired friend vows not to let the matter drop until every detail is revealed. Xiaoro remains stoic and unresponsive, refusing to let his prying friend uncover the events of his intimate night. A loud, frantic shout sounding from the hallway prompts a nurse to remind the men to be quiet. The scene transitions to the corporate headquarters as the narrative shifts focus toward a new, mysterious arrival. A sharp buzzed sounding from his phone catches President Mo's attention as he notes his secretary's unusual morning tardiness. Staff discuss the new marketing head, a blonde-haired man handpicked by the chairman from an overseas subsidiary. Staff members gossip about the arrival, while the black-haired president watches the office environment with his usual cold intensity. Mo Yanchuan observes the blonde man's back, questioning if the newcomer is truly an assistant or a source of pressure. A huff and ding sounding follow as a panicked Xiaoro rushes toward the elevator while checking his messages. A text thread reveals Hayu teasing the secretary about his straight boss while demanding more snacks from the hospital. A frantic rummage sounding follows as Xiao Ruo searches his pockets for his missing office security card. Taking a deep inhale sounding, the secretary realizes he is stuck at the gate without his identification card. A sudden beep sounding occurs as a helpful stranger scans their card to grant the secretary access. The blonde-haired man pulls Xiaoru close in a sudden, protective embrace, surprising the flustered, tan-haired secretary. The newcomer introduces himself as Tao Si, offering a charming smile while returning the secretary's lost office card. Xiaoro gives a satisfied nod, relieved to have found his card thanks to the helpful and handsome stranger. A dark and menacing President Mo calls his secretary, demanding to know why he hasn't arrived at the office. Xiaoro explains he is at the lift while placing a fruit delivery order for his hospitalized friend. Xiaoru and Tao Si wait together at the elevator, their first meeting creating a new dynamic in the office. Tao Si notes their coincidence as new colleagues, while the secretary remains cautious about the blonde man's sudden appearance. Xiaoro realizes the blonde-haired man is Tao Si, the new department head he researched in human resources. A loud crash sounding erupts as the lift suddenly jolts, sending the three passengers stumbling in different directions. Coffee splashes violently across the tan-haired secretary's face and suit as he loses his balance during the impact. Looking completely drenched, a flustered Xiaoruo leans against the wall while apologizing profusely for the messy accident. Tao Si catches the secretary, steadying him with a firm embrace while complaining about the lift's poor maintenance. The blonde-haired man offers a cloth to help, while Xiaoruo looks up with a surprised, grateful expression. Flustered by the proximity, the secretary notices the newcomer is standing uncomfortably close while helping him clean up. The perspective shifts to Mo Yanchuan, who coldly observes that his secretary is exactly 10 minutes and 30 seconds late. Tao Si hovers over the secretary, checking if the hot coffee caused any burns, while Zhao Ro insists he is fine. A close-up highlights the secretary's growing nervousness as the blonde-haired man maintains his intense, caring focus on him. A firm push sounding follows as the doors open to reveal President Mo watching the intimate scene with a dark expression. Tao Si offers a cheerful morning greeting while the black-haired president remains silent, radiating a cold and menacing aura. A soft plop sounding follows as Mo Yanchuan throws a towel over the secretary's head, ordering him to dry off. A rhythmic wipe sounding occurs as Xiao Ru hides under the towel, while his boss watches with arms crossed. Looming behind his desk, President Mo tells his secretary to take off his wet clothes and get changed immediately. A quick click sounding follows as the president lights a cigarette, listening as the secretary apologizes for his tardiness. Standing in a half-unbuttoned wet shirt, Zhao Rou asks if there is an urgent matter that requires his attention. A soft drip sounding continues from the secretary's damp hair as he turns to face his brooding employer again. In an unexpected, intimate moment, Mo Yanchuan reaches out to help unbutton the secretary's wet shirt in the shower room. Another rhythmic drip sounding occurs as the president's hands move lower, intensifying the heavy, silent atmosphere between them. Xiao Rou laments being completely drenched while his boss remains close, his face partially hidden in the moody shadows. Leaning in close, the secretary suggests they talk since he is already wet, while the president watches him intently. Xiao Rou changes into a fresh shirt, unaware of a prominent red mark visible on the side of his neck. A dark, demonic shadow looms over President Mo as the secretary thanks him for the use of his clothes. A quick roll sounding occurs as the president grabs the secretary's wrist, pulling him close to inspect his skin. Mo Yanchuan points out a suspicious red area around the secretary's neck, his expression shifting to one of sharp concern. A firm pull sounding follows as the president demands to see the mark, ignoring the secretary's claims of being okay. A sudden, loud knock 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 sounding from the office door interrupts the tense physical contact between the two men. A quick push sounding follows as Xiao Rou pulls away while President Mo turns his head with a frustrated look. Tao Si enters the office, apologizing for the lift incident before explaining his history at the overseas subsidiary company. Mo Yangchuan listens with a cold, professional gaze as the new director asks for his thoughts on the product launch. Tao Si hands over a blue folder, inviting the president to review his specific notes regarding the marketing plan. President Mo approves the plan, but adds that he will need a specific resource before they can move forward. The secretary stands by the desk, watching the two powerful men discuss business while looking somewhat lost in thought. Tao Si leans over the desk, boldly requesting to borrow the secretary to assist with the upcoming marketing project. Surrounded by a bubbly, heart-filled background, Tao Si explains he needs Xiao Rou's cooperation since the plan was his idea. Xiao Rou notices his employer's dark mood and asks if there is a problem with the new director's request. A dark, crackling energy radiates from the president as he denies the request, though the secretary quickly says he's okay. Tao Si smiles warmly at the helpful secretary, while Xiao Rou responds with cheerful enthusiasm, ignoring his boss's jealousy. Noting the empty flask, the secretary asks for follow-up questions while Mo Yanchuan watches the pair with simmering irritation. The secretary and Tao Si lean close together to examine the folder, their proximity clearly annoying the watching president. A series of loud ahem-sounding coughs follow as Mo Yanchuan tries to reclaim his secretary's wandering attention. A sudden click sounding occurs as the president sits alone at his desk, clearly dwelling on the morning's frustrations. Mo Yingtran scrolls through his phone, seeing corporate gossip about the new director and feeling increasingly unhappy and jealous. A zoom-in sounding focus on the screen shows a photo of the blonde director looking intimate with the secretary. The president towers over a terrified marketing employee in the hallway, his dark aura filling the entire corridor. A loud "ah" sounding scream escapes the man as President Mo demands to know how work has been lately. The terrified employee stammers about his deadlines, while the president wonders if the man's hair color is a trend. The lift reaches the 19th floor, and the employee frantically escapes as the president notes the style suits him. The employee rushes out to greet Director Tao, leaving a brooding, dark Mo Yanchuan alone as the lift closes. Tao Si suggests the exhausted marketing employee take a leave, noting her intense overtime work. Trembling hands reach for a file on a high shelf, struggling with the weight of the records. The blonde newcomer catches the secretary in a sudden back hug while helping him retrieve a blue folder. Xiao Rou notes the marketing department's terrifying passion, Credit to the extremely capable and focused new director. The tan-haired man meets Lee, who offers him a tube of specialized overseas ointment for his injury. Lee explains the medicine is for the morning's coffee scald, showing surprising concern for the secretary's well-being. Overwhelmed by the sudden hug and care, Xiaoro thanks his colleague for the thoughtful and protective gesture. Feeling breathless from the proximity, the secretary focuses on his phone as he types a quick, nervous message. A shut-sounding elevator carries President Mo and Xiaoro, while the boss broods over a mystery man. Panic strikes the secretary as he realizes he accidentally called his cold-hearted boss by a childhood nickname. The scene shifts to a bustling indoor swimming complex where several people are practicing their morning laps. A rhythmic splash sounding follows as the brown-haired man dives deep into the clear, cool blue water. Pausing his workout, the distracted swimmer checks his watch and wonders why his usual speed has dropped. Mo Yonchuan lies in bed, blushing intensely as he recalls a physical encounter he vowed to forget. Night falls over the quiet apartment complex, where the central fountain stands illuminated under the dim stars. The brown-haired secretary meticulously records his monthly expenses, including rent and support for his aging mother. A sudden knock-knock sounding at the door interrupts his budget planning as an evening delivery arrives. On screen, a cheerful woman demonstrates how to prepare a nutritious meal for a pet hamster's diet. With a hamster perched on his shoulder, President Mo confirms his understanding of the online pet care tutorial. Xiaoru smiles while reading social media comments about his straight man photography angles on his phone. The group chat reveals Tao Si flirting with the secretary, promising to learn swimming just for his sake. A dark and menacing aura surrounds Mo Yanchuan as he reads the public digital flirtation on his phone. Throwing his phone aside, the jealous president wonders why he is even monitoring his secretary's private social life. A ding-sounding notification arrives as both men resolve to stay out of each other's personal business. A text from his mother about his boss causes the secretary to sweat with visible and growing irritation. Shadows dance across the wall as Mo Yanchuan recalls an intimate moment of unbuttoning the secretary's wet shirt. When asked about his romantic type, the brown-haired man stares at his phone with a melancholic, reflective expression. A soft plop sounding follows as the exhausted Xiaoruo collapses onto his bed with a tired sigh. Looking up at the dark ceiling, the secretary wonders how he can ever reveal the truth to his mother. A rhythmic click-clack sounding echoes through the hall as staff note the return of director Xiao Duoduo. The white-haired head of HR, Xiao Duoduo, makes a stylish and commanding entrance back into the corporate office. High heels produce a sharp click-clack sounding as the woman approaches Xiaoro's busy and cluttered workstation. Duodo leans over the desk with a sharp gaze, catching the immediate attention of the hard-working secretary. Looking up from his work, the tan-haired man acknowledges the presence of the commanding and beautiful HR director. The white-haired woman orders the secretary to follow her to her office for a private and urgent discussion. Once alone, Duodo playfully pinches Xiaoro's cheeks and offers to protect him from his demanding boss. The embarrassed man begs his big sister to stop using his childhood nickname within the professional office. Duodo admits she never expected him to survive a single month working for the nitpicking and cold President Mo. Shocked and indignant, the secretary realizes he was only hired to help his sister meet a corporate KPI. The HR director teases him about his high salary, jokingly asking if he bewitched the cold-hearted president. Xiaoru laughs nervously, hiding the secret memory of the one-night stand he shared with his employer. He asks about her exhausting year-long break, while Duodo complains about her time away from the company. When he mentions her secret matchmaking dates, Duodo transforms into a terrifying, demonic figure to silence his teasing. The white-haired sister presents several lavish shopping bags, piquing the curiosity of the tan-haired secretary. She presents a box of traditional treats from their aunt, meant to help with his chronic childhood anemia. Xiaoro questions the medicine's reliability, but his sister insists he obey their mother and eat the snacks. Walking away, the secretary winces in pain, thinking about how much his backside still hurts from the night. A group of curious employees huddle behind a wall, peeking out to watch the secretary's every movement. Staff gossip about the president's cold mood during a meeting before noticing the secretary's mystery shopping bags. Xiaoru shares the sour treats from his hometown, leaving his coworkers surprised by the unique, puckery flavor. An office employee asks the brown-haired secretary to deliver files to the president, and he politely agrees. Xiaoro laments his boss's messy desk, but Mo Yantuan insists his chaotic pile of papers is organized. Looking around the empty office, the dark-haired president wonders where his secretary has disappeared to this time. Returning to his desk, Mo Yanchuan notices several colorful shopping bags left behind by the brown-haired man. Surrounded by admiring stuff, the blonde director Tao offers a casual greeting as he starts his morning. From the end of the hallway, the newcomer watches the tan-haired secretary walk away with a curious gaze. Tao Si greets Zhao Ru with a sudden arm around his shoulder, surprising the hard-working secretary. The blonde director claims he feels energized just by seeing the secretary, despite the man's visible discomfort. Mo Yanchuan watches from a distance as the pair walks away together, his expression darkening with irritation. The president abruptly calls his secretary back for an urgent task, effectively pulling him away from Tao Si. Xiao Ru leans over the desk to assist his employer, focusing intently on the glowing laptop screen. The secretary is baffled when the powerful president asks for help with a basic spreadsheet function. Xiao Ru wonders why his boss didn't just search online, while Mo Yanchuan demands immediate assistance. After completing the simple task, the secretary tries to leave, but his boss firmly tells him to stay. A sudden, firm pull sounding occurs as the president grabs the secretary's wrist, catching him completely off guard. A heavy thump sounding follows as Xiao Ro is pulled back, landing squarely in the president's large chair. Hovering close, the dark-haired man asks if he is okay, while the stunned secretary stammers a nervous response. Mo Yanchuan points out a strange page on the screen, while the secretary sits awkwardly on his lap. A quick click sounding follows as Xiao Ru tries to fix the computer while ignoring their intimate proximity. The secretary suddenly panics, realizing he completely forgot he was sitting directly on the cold president's lap. A soft click sounding echoes as Xiao Ro continues to work, unaware of the president's increasingly intense gaze. Leaning over the desk, a series of rhythmic click-sounding noises follow as the secretary struggles with the computer. Internally screaming, the brown-haired man worries that his clumsy attempts to fix the laptop are only making things worse. Suspecting a virus, the secretary tries one more solution, producing a final, sharp click sounding from the mouse. Xiao Ru proudly announces he has resolved the issue by deleting a file containing a hidden computer virus. Mo Yanchuan coldly dismisses him, leaving the secretary annoyed by his boss's predictably ungrateful and fussy behavior. The president eats one of the snacks from the desk as a staff member identifies them as hometown treats. A frantic ding-sounding notification rings out as Xiao Ruo checks his phone, desperate for a quiet break. A heavy huff sounding follows as the exhausted secretary returns to find Tao Si lingering in the office. The secretary's phone displays a series of demanding, passive-aggressive messages from his boss regarding his work priorities. Imagining his boss as a straw doll, the secretary tries not to lose his temper while holding imaginary knives. A soft put-down sounding occurs as Mo Yanchuan sets aside his phone, eating more snacks to calm himself. The dark-haired president feels his pulse racing and breath shortening, wondering why his body is reacting so strangely. Xiao Ro offers to help Tao Si with a file error until a sudden, sharp block sounding interrupts them. Mo Yanchuan looms over the pair, coldly suggesting that the director should be able to handle simple technical issues. A sharp click sounding follows as the president takes over the computer, lecturing the staff on their perceived incompetence. Chibi-style employees watch in awe as the president continues his tirade, while others quietly slip away to work. Smoking a cigarette, Tao Si playfully questions why the president is so protective of a secretary he supposedly dislikes. The blonde director recalls seeing the secretary looking cheerful and supportive, fueling his desire to tease the boss. Mo Yangchuan suddenly sways, clutching his chest as a wave of intense physical distress washes over him. Tao Si asks if his words were too much, while the president's vision begins to blur and distort. A sharp slap sounding follows as the sweating president pushes Tao away, limping off into the corridor alone. Voices echo through the corporate towers as staff members realize the president has mysteriously vanished from the area. Xiaoru asks a colleague named Xiaolong if she has seen any sign of the missing Mo Yanchuan. The woman explains she saw him running toward the bathroom, likely due to eating too many hometown snacks. Panic strikes the secretary as he realizes his boss ate an entire box of specialized medicinal anemia treats. A loud bang sounding follows as the terrified secretary kicks open the restroom door to find his boss. Xiaoru finds the president leaning over a sink in the shadows and asks if he is all right. Mo Yangchuan looks up with bloodshot eyes and a dark aura, whispering that he feels incredibly strange and alert. Looming over his secretary, the president describes a burning, explosive energy inside him that he can't seem to control. Sweating and intense, the dark-haired president declares he has one specific thing he must do immediately. A deep inhale sounding precedes Mo Yangchuan celebrating the fresh air while his secretary reminds him they are in a restroom. The president points toward a bright window, claiming the rising sun is making him feel incredibly emotional. Xiaoro deadpans that it's actually sunset before the president, nosebleeding, announces he wants to go running. A sudden swoosh sounding follows as the president bolts past, leaving his secretary to chase after him frantically. A series of wham and slam sounding noises echo through the hall as the president collides with staff. A rhythmic step sounding follows as the tan-haired secretary begs employees to move aside while chasing his runaway boss. Chibi-style employees are caught in a sudden swoosh sounding as the president sprints through the corporate corridor. Xiaoro manages to tackle the dark-haired man around the waist, finally bringing his chaotic running to a halt. A heavy huff and heave sounding follows as the secretary explains the snacks were actually medicinal treats that require vomiting. Mo Yangchuan accuses his secretary of poisoning him as Xiaoro struggles to help him under staff observation. Nurses gossip about the president being hospitalized again, this time for an accidental overdose on herbal medication. Lying in a hospital bed, the pale president looks up at his secretary, Xiao Nuo, and asks what is wrong. Standing by the bedside, the tan-haired man smiles softly to himself while looking down at his exhausted boss. From his position in bed, the dark-haired man watches as his secretary observes him with a gentle expression. Mo Yanchuan reflects on the rare sight of his secretary's genuine smile, noting it is his first time seeing it. The president's mood quickly sours as he realizes his secretary is actually laughing at his current, pathetic state. Darkening with irritation, the boss calls the secretary bold for daring to poison him with the potent medicine. Xiaoru defends himself against the accusations, though he regrets not noticing something was wrong with the treats sooner. Mo Yanchuan admits he finished the pockets despite the smell, thinking they were a special gift just for him. A sudden freeze sounding occurs as the president's face flushes with embarrassment after realizing he just admitted to being touched. Mo Yangchuan hides his face in bed while the stunned secretary realizes his boss was happy about the snacks. Watching his boss turn away, Xiao Ruo realizes that Mo Yanchuan might not be as unlikable as he thought. A quick ding-sounding notification reveals an office group chat where employees are marveling at the president's sprinting speed. The secretary reassures his boss that his reputation is safe, promising to keep his identity as the sprinter secret. When the president asks for food, Xiaoru explains he must fast for 24 hours after his stomach pump. A firm grab sounding follows as the dark-haired man catches the secretary's wrist, stopping him from leaving. Looking up with an intense and desperate gaze, Mo Yanchuan demands to know where the tan-haired man is going. Xiaoru explains he was only seeking the doctor to ask if his boss could at least have some water. A soft release sounding occurs as the president lets go, looking surprised by the secretary's thoughtful concern. Mo Yanchuan calls out to Xiao Nuo, asking him to provide an honest answer to a very serious question. The tan-haired man stops and looks back, waiting for his employer to voice whatever is on his mind. The secretary questions the nature of the inquiry, but the president insists on receiving his absolute best answer. Xiaoru remains silent, his expression becoming serious as he prepares to listen to the president's pressing question. In a memory, the jealous president asks whose business is more important to the secretary, his or Director Tao's. Xiaoru prioritizes the news conference, noting that Director Tao's approachable nature makes working together more efficient despite his frivolousness. The secretary explains that the blonde director is well-liked by everyone, making him a pleasure to work with professionally. The president laments that despite trying to be casual with his employees, they remain absolutely terrified of his presence. A flashback shows Mo Yanchuan scaring an employee in the elevator while trying to offer a compliment on his hair. The tan-haired man bluntly suggests that the problem might lie with the president's habitually cold and terrifying facial expression. Mo Yanchuan looks confused by the advice, while Xiaoru insists that he should try smiling while he speaks. The president attempts a smile, but it results in a horrifying, predatory grin that leaves the secretary completely speechless. Huffing in frustration, Mo Yanchuan tells his secretary to leave so he can rest, unable to mimic Director Tao's charm. Xiaoru recalls his past perception of his boss as a massive, dark-masked demon looming over him with power. Comparing his thoughts to the present, he now sees the president as a demon wielding a cute pink heart wand. A rhythmic shake sounding fills the subway car as commuters stand together during the secretary's evening journey home. Gazing out, Xiaoru reflects on his boss's recent vulnerability and the unexpected intensity of their hospital interaction. Sitting alone on the train, the tan-haired secretary admits to himself that the president's behavior was actually quite cute. While on the phone with his sister, Xiaoru begs her not to tell their mother about the medicinal mishap. Looking at his phone, the brown-haired man breaks into a soft, genuine smile as he thinks about his demanding employer. Looking at his phone, the silver-haired Huang Haiyu asks the smiling, tan-haired man what is so amusing. Huang Haoyu notes his phone constantly recommends female celebrities like the pink-haired dancer Peachy to him. Lying down, the silver-haired man swipes away the video content while music notes float around him. Peachy, the pink-haired creator, poses with a peace sign in a video titled "Let's Dance." The scene shifts to the exterior of the corporate office tower featuring an OM Cafe advertisement. In the elevator, a nervous employee sweats while standing beside the intimidating, dark-haired President Mo Yanchuan. Xiaoru joins the pair in the elevator, where the atmosphere remains thick with the employee's visible anxiety. Mo Yanchuan comments on the man's hair color, causing the terrified employee to promise he will dye it back. Xiaoru intervenes, reassuring the staff member that the president actually thinks the hair color suits him well. The secretary prompts his boss to confirm, and a reluctant Mo Yanchuan quietly agrees with a stern expression. While the employee thanks him, Xiaoru wonders why they are acting so shy in the president's presence. Back in the office, Mo Yanchuan scolds his secretary for the impromptu compliment, while Xiaoruo holds snacks. A startled meow sounding follows as the president recoils from a snack, imagining a terrified black cat. Xiaoru explains these are safe dried fruits, leading Mo Yanchuan to mistakenly believe the gift is for him. The secretary bluntly reveals the bag is for the chauffeur, leaving a tiny, disappointed Mo Yanchuan in the background. A quick whoosh sounding accompanies Xiaoru revealing a strict, monk-like soft food meal plan for the president. Mo Yangtuan refuses to eat the bland meals, but a demonic-looking Xiaoru insists he follow the doctor's orders. When the boss demands fast food, the tan-haired man delivers a terrifyingly firm refusal that shuts him down. Shocked and indignant, the dark-haired president stares at his secretary, unable to believe he was just told no. Xiaoru presents a laptop with employee photos, instructing the face-blind president to begin memorizing his staff's identities. The secretary offers a bag of dried fruit as a reward, which the president pridefully dismisses as a joke. A sudden lean sounding follows as Xiao Ruo threatens to confiscate all snacks if the boss neglects his health. Mo Yangchuan is left trembling with rage, offended that his own secretary would dare to threaten his authority. In the cafeteria, employees gossip about Peachy's viral popularity while eating their lunch together. Xiaoru overhears the chatter about Huang Haoyu being obsessed with the pink-haired creator's dancing videos. The staff gather around a table, watching the videos guys go crazy over, while Xiaoru observes their enthusiasm. Mo Yanchuan passes by looking cold, while staff whisper about his strange behavior and constant private murmuring. The president struggles to memorize his staff, successfully identifying a woman named Qian while studying in the shadows. Clutching a small cheat sheet of employee photos, the dark-haired man curses the difficulty of the task. Tao Si asks if Xiao Ro also likes Peachy, and the secretary admits to only seeing a few videos. Observing from his desk, Mo Yanchuan concludes that his secretary's type must be the popular pink-haired content creator. A loud ring sounding follows as a hand hits the alarm, and Huang Haoyu prepares to leave work early. A colleague stops the silver-haired man, insisting he attend the company gathering despite his repeated excuses. A loud chatter sounding fills the bustling restaurant as the staff department gathers for a communal dinner. Huang Haoyu sits among his coworkers, feeling miserable and scrolling through his phone while everyone else eats. The silver-haired man watches the simmering hot pot, waiting patiently for the meat he added to finish cooking. A sudden snatch sounding follows as another pair of chopsticks steals the very piece of meat he wanted. A manager announces a new partnership with Mo Electronics, surprising Huang Haoyu, who recognizes the company name. To his shock, Huang Haoyu is put in charge of the project because of his high technical skill level. The manager informs the silver-haired man that he will meet the client's person in charge the following week. Next week, Huang Haoyu presents his product launch plans on a laptop to the blonde-haired director Tao Si. A long yawn sounding follows as Tao Si looks completely disinterested and bored by the technical presentation. Frustrated, the silver-haired man tries to keep his temper while noticing the director's obvious lack of attention. A sudden smack sounding follows as the director drops his pen and leans down to retrieve it. A sudden spread sounding occurs as the blonde-haired man stretches his legs wide under the conference table. Looking down from above, the silver-haired man finds Tao Si has fallen asleep directly against his lap. A heavy sigh sounding follows as Huang Haoyu asks for feedback, prompting the sleepy director to feign interest. Huang Haoyu confronts the blonde-haired man about falling asleep, but Tao Si blames it on a lack of rest. Smiling brightly, the blonde director reassures his colleague that he genuinely likes the proposed project plan. After the meeting, Huang Haoyu walks down the hallway and stops as someone calls out his name. Standing in the hallway, the blonde-haired director Tao Si asks Huang Haoyu if he is coming next week. Huang Haoyu questions the director's motives, suggesting he be replaced if his presence is considered unsuitable for the project. An itch sounding follows as the blonde man leans in uncomfortably close, questioning the silver-haired man's general friendliness. Reacting quickly, Huang Haoyu places a firm hand against the director's chest to push the blonde man away.
A step back sounding accompanies the silver-haired man demanding distance, insisting their interactions remain strictly professional.
While Tao Si maintains a bright smile, the silver-haired man finds his constant cheerfulness incredibly annoying to behold. Huang Haoyu storms away while grumbling as the blonde director waves goodbye and promises a meeting next week. Watching his technical colleague depart, Tao Si thinks to himself that the foul-mouthed silver-haired man is actually adorable. In the office kitchen, employees gossip about President Mo finally ending his meatless diet after a full week. A brown-haired employee marvels at the president's improved attitude, noting he even greeted her by name recently. Observing his secretary eating instant noodles again, Mo Yanchuan works late and decides to take charge of his health. Back at his residence, the dark-haired president dons an apron and prepares a variety of home-cooked meat dishes. Looking at the gourmet spread, Mo Yanchuan worries that his concern for the secretary will appear too obvious. Late at night, the brown-haired chauffeur Li explains to Xiao Rou that he often performs miscellaneous tasks during overtime. Claiming he accidentally ordered too much food, the chauffeur Li places a heavy bag on the secretary's desk. Li presents containers of meat and rice, urging the tan-haired man to prioritize his health over instant noodles. Delighted by the fragrant meal, Xiao Rou invites Li to join him, but the chauffeur says he already ate. Watching from the shadows, the dark-haired president maintains a stern expression as he observes the secretary and chauffeur. Secretary Xiao reflects on Li's consistent kindness, suspecting the chauffeur likes him despite not being his typical type. Finding Li slumped over his desk, the concerned tan-haired man asks if the chauffeur has caught a cold. Later, Xiao Ruo brings a cup of coffee to the tired chauffeur, offering a warm and appreciative smile. A shock sounding occurs as Mo Yanchuan, hidden around the corner, reels from the intimate conversation he just overheard. Tossing and turning, the disgruntled president mutters about replacing the chauffeur for trying to get close to his secretary. Xiao Rou watches over his sleeping employer, who continues to grumble about firing someone in his restless dreams. As the tan-haired man gently covers him with a blanket, Mo Yanchuan's eyes suddenly flutter open. Waking up, the president looks confused as the secretary apologizes for disturbing his rest on the office couch. With a soft smile, the tan-haired secretary asks if his employer is hiding something secret from him. Complaining about the heat, Mo Yanchuan adjusts the air conditioning while realizing his favorite thermos mug is missing. Xiao Rou informs his boss that a cleaner accidentally broke his mug, suggesting he use a glass instead. The dark-haired president laments the loss of his thermos, admitting he cherished its warmth and comfortable grip. A beep-beep-beep sounding echoes as Huang Haoyu walks outside, interrupted by an arriving black car. Leaning out of the vehicle, director Tao Si offers the silver-haired man a lift home from the office. While driving, the blonde man praises the project revisions, but notices his passenger seems tense and deeply displeased. Huang Haoyu turns toward the driver, preparing to voice his blunt and honest feedback directly to the director's face. With a fierce glare, the silver-haired man declares his absolute hatred for people who are habitually late. Looking oblivious, the blonde director asks who specifically the silver-haired man is referring to in his outburst. Shouting in frustration, Huang Haoyu points out that Tao Si was half an hour late to their meeting. The blonde man offers an insincere apology and coffee, leaving the silver-haired passenger fuming with rage. Tao Si laughs off the tension, leaning toward Huang Haoyu and calling him really cute to his face. A boom sounding accompanies Huang Haoyu's spiking blood pressure as he reacts to the director's bold flirtation. Later that night, the silver-haired man lies on his bed while music plays from a peachy dance video. A drop sounding follows as Huang Haoyu fumbles his phone after seeing the unexpected content on his screen. A tremble sounding fills the room as the silver-haired man stares in horror, questioning why the director sent him this. Looking at his own device, the blonde Tao Si smiles contentedly while noting how enthusiastic his new fans are. The scene shifts to a bustling sidewalk where a red food cart serves orders of fragrant fried rice. Sharing a snack, Xiao Ru asks Huang Haoyu about the true nature of director Tao Si's personality. A spit sounding occurs as the silver-haired man chokes when Xiao Ru reveals he feels pursued by the director. The tanned-haired man explains that the blonde director constantly tries to make his presence felt and draw him in. Huang Haoyu is left speechless when Xiao Ru reveals that Tao Si actually sent him a nude photo yesterday. Thinking about the flirtatious blonde director, the tan-haired man hopes he will spare the straight-laced Huang Haoyu. At an outdoor stall, the tan-haired secretary complains about the long wait for their fried rice, while a woman serves appetizers. Sitting nearby, Xiao Ruo is startled to spot his dark-haired boss, Mo Yanchuan, in the middle of the casual food court. Looking out of place in a black hoodie, the president's sudden appearance leaves the secretary wondering why he is there. While the silver-haired Huang Haoyu snacks on green beans, Mo Yanchuan maintains a stern and cold expression across the table. Xiao Ru introduces his boss to his friend, while Mo Yanchuan suspiciously recalls the silver-haired man's previous phone call. Huang Haoyu questions the president's choice of venue, noting he seems better suited for high-end dining than a street stall. Maintaining a cool facade, Mo Yanchuan claims he's simply stopped by for a taste while out on a night run. The secretary is shocked when the dark-haired man pulls a small pet hamster out of his hoodie pocket during their conversation. Xiao Ru laughs at the hamster's roundness, much to the annoyance of Huang Haoyu, who watches the two interact. Observing the pair's easy rapport, the silver-haired technical colleague notes how surprisingly close the boss and secretary seem to be. The domestic atmosphere deepens as Xiao Ru feeds the small pet while Mo Yanchuan watches on with quiet, focused interest. A server delivers a plate of egg fried rice, announcing they added extra ingredients as a special gesture for them. Huang Haoyu explodes in rage, threatening a one-star review because the president was served first despite arriving much later. Mo Yanchuan takes a thoughtful bite of the rice, chewing carefully as he begins to evaluate the quality of the meal. Turning into an expert food critic, the dark-haired man provides a technical assessment of the rice's texture and oil temperature. Xiao Ru apologizes for his boss's rambling, while the orange-haired stall owner reels from the unexpected and blunt criticism. A look of intense shock crosses the stall owner's face as he processes the first negative feedback he has ever received. Mo Yanchuan continues his lecture, asserting that a true chef must constantly evolve to maintain high standards over many years. Embarrassed by the unfolding scene, the tan-haired secretary begs his boss to stop talking while Huang Haoyu watches the awkward display. The defensive stall owner challenges the president to cook the dish himself if he believes he can do a better job. Accepting the challenge, Mo Yanchuan stands up and heads toward the cart as the stunned onlookers watch him take charge. With practiced ease, the dark-haired president begins his demonstration by cracking eggs into the pan with professional, rhythmic precision. A sizzle sounding follows as Mo Yanchuan tosses the rice over high heat, creating a brilliant and highly aromatic display. The stall owner watches in silent awe as his customer demonstrates superior cooking technique behind the simple street food cart. Presenting the finished dish, the president draws a crowd of hungry passers-by, captivated by the incredible and fragrant scent. Hungry customers swarm the food stall, shouting out their various orders for the handsome fellow's expertly cooked fried rice. The owner happily manages payments, while a sweating Mo Yanchuan continues to cook tirelessly for the growing line of people. Xiao Ru reflects on how his boss's intervention saved their dinner plans while they finally enjoy their meal together. Taking a bite, the tan-haired secretary is visibly stunned by the exceptional taste of the rice his boss prepared for them. Back at the office, Xiao Ru enjoys a similarly fragrant meal brought by Li, questioning where such delicious rice came from. Late into the night, the cooking challenge concludes, as Mo Yanchuan and the stall owner stand by the street cart. Impressed by the profits, the orange-haired man offers a partnership, but Mo Yanchuan declines due to his regular office job. Huang Haoyu signals it is time to leave, acknowledging the handsome fellow, Mo Yanchuan, as they wrap up their evening. With a bright smile, Xiao Ruo suggests walking back with the president since they are both heading in the same direction. The silver-haired man is left feeling excluded and annoyed when his friend chooses to walk home with the boss instead. The secretary bluntly tells Huang Haoyu to find his own way home, urging him to call a cab and leave quickly. A bright flash accompanies Huang Haoyu's fury as he screams about the inhumane treatment he is receiving from his friend. The scene shifts to the quiet city streets, where light from the lamps illuminates the peaceful and empty evening path. Walking side by side, the dark-haired president and his secretary enjoy the cool night air as they head home together. Noticing the tan-haired man's hesitation, Mo Yanchuan encourages him to speak his mind during their quiet stroll through the city. Xiao Ruo points out a store ahead and suggests spending the money Mo earned today from his stint as a chef. The two men enter a large retail warehouse filled with household goods and organized stocks of various white boxes. Mo Yanchuan explores the aisles of the home goods store, looking for something specific among the vast and diverse inventory. While shopping, the secretary's mind wanders to an intimate mental image of a relaxing bath and a luxurious white bathrobe. A store clerk approaches the president, politely asking if he needs any assistance finding particular items in the large store. Mo Yanchuan dismisses the help, stating he is just taking a look as he continues to scan the surrounding shelves. From across the store, Xiao Ruo calls out excitedly, waving the dark-haired man over to a specific shelf of products. The secretary presents a blue thermos mug, noting its comfortable grip and striking resemblance to the president's old, broken one. Recognizing his employer's attachment to the lost item, Xiao Ruo warmly suggests they purchase the replacement mug right now. While Mo Yanchuan is pleased to spend his earnings, the secretary is hilariously horrified by the thermos's unexpectedly high price. The city remains quiet under the night sky as the lights of the apartment buildings glow softly. Mo Yanchuan insists on paying the steep bill when the secretary tries to purchase a replacement thermos. Watching his secretary, the president wonders why Xiao Ruo is buying him such a thoughtful personal gift. Mo Yanchuan reflects on the tan-haired man's typical frugality, touched that he chose to spend on him. The two men walk home together, the dark-haired president carefully holding the blue thermos Xiao Ruo bought him. Xiao Ruo explains he is thanking his boss for the many home-cooked meals during their long overtime nights. Strolling under the streetlights, the secretary suggests they stop counting favors and simply enjoy their mutual care. Xiao Ruo smiles warmly while asking Mo if he likes the new mug, noting its perfect, comfortable grip. Downplaying his kindness, the tan-haired man claims he only fed Mo to get feedback on his experimental cooking. A quiet, reflective look crosses Xiao Ruo's face as they continue their walk through the peaceful city evening. Parting for the night, Mo carries his pet hamster in his pocket as Xiao Ruo bids him farewell. Preparations are in full swing for the Mo Group Electronics news conference as staff coordinate the final details. A blonde staff member confirms the decorations are ready, receiving a brief professional acknowledgement from President Mo. As the event begins, Mo Yanchuan remains distracted by thoughts of Xiao Ruo's unexpected and generous gift. Director Tao Si offers to help open the thermos, but the president coldly refuses his assistance. Xiao Ruo watches his boss and the director bicker from a distance, questioning their maturity during the event. Mo Yanchuan steps away from the conference floor to handle a call, excusing himself from his colleagues. On the phone, the president remains calm while an angry voice scolds him for treating the conference casually. Mo defends his management, confidently asserting that his capable secretary has every concrete detail under complete control. Xiao Ruo proves his boss right, efficiently managing the event staff while reviewing the conference schedule. The tan-haired secretary greets reporter Lee with a professional handshake, welcoming him to the prestigious product launch. The conference officially kicks off as director Tao Si takes the stage to present the new electronic devices. President Mo Yanchuan is introduced to the applauding crowd while Xiao Ru watches the successful presentation with pride. A new spokesperson takes the stage, expressing his deep honor to represent the Mo Group's latest innovations. The atmosphere shifts when an audience member shouts a confrontational question about fan disputes over the spokesperson. Despite the brief interruption, the massive news conference continues as the presenters maintain their professional stage presence. Following the event, Mo Yanchuan tells his secretary to head home and rest after his hard work. Chaos erupts outside as a mob of angry fans begins shouting insults and protesting the new spokesperson choice. Xiao Ru learns from the reporter that the previous spokesperson's fans are rioting over his recent replacement. The situation turns dangerous, prompting the tan-haired secretary to reach for his phone to summon security guards. A grab sounding occurs as Mo Yanchuan catches the arm of a fan attempting to strike his secretary. Looking fierce, the dark-haired president shields Xiao Ruo and orders the aggressive crowd to step back immediately. The fans recognize the president as a heavy object is snatched and thrown violently toward the two men. A smash sounding echoes through the air as a camera is hurled, narrowly missing the president's head. A crack sounding follows the camera hitting the floor as a sudden, heavy silence falls over the crowd. Xiao Ru hunches over in sudden pain, while Mo Yanchuan realizes the secretary has been seriously injured. Mo grabs Xiao Ruo's hand, horrified to find blood streaming down the tan-haired man's face from a wound. Rushing to the hospital, the president holds Xiao Ruo's head and urges him to hang on. Looking dazed and bloody, Xiao Ruo tells his boss to focus on the road as he feels giddy. Mo Yanchuan drives with frantic intensity, his face etched with worry as he races to save his secretary. Silent and wounded, Xiao Ruo remains steady in the passenger seat as they speed through the city streets. A click-clack sounding follows a nurse's footsteps as she spots the bloody secretary and reacts with shock. Panicked, Mo demands the nurse save the dying man, leading her to wonder which of them is truly hurt. The nurse guides them into the hospital while silently judging the president for his over-the-top dramatic entrance. Mo Yanchuan watches with bated breath as a doctor begins to examine Xiao Ruo's bleeding head wound. The doctor delivers the diagnosis of fractures and a deep gash, prescribing rest and medication for the secretary. A clatter sounding follows Mo using a vending machine while Xiao Ruo waits on a bench nearby. Handing over a water bottle, the president questions why Xiao Ru is already back to checking his phone. Xiao Ru admits he is checking news trends, fearing the violent outburst will destroy the product launch's reputation. The secretary frets over the company's image, but Mo Yanchuan asks if that is truly important right now. Mo Yanchuan scolds his injured secretary for worrying about work, warning that the deep gash nearly blinded him. At the hospital, a bandaged Xiao Ru returns the dark-haired man's phone and urges him to lower his voice. While driving him home, the president agrees to approve the tan-haired man's upcoming request for medical sick leave. Xiao Ru looks out the window before asking if his boss has anything else he wants to say. Mo Yanchuan remains silent, privately blaming himself for the dangerous situation that led to his secretary's head injury. A vroom sounding follows the car driving away, leaving Xiao Ru to reflect on his boss's unusual, softened tone. The silver-haired woman screams frantically into her phone upon hearing the shocking news about Xiao Ruo's violent accident. Looking visibly shaken, the woman listens intently as the gravity of the secretary's situation is explained over the call. Xiao Ru reassures his caller that he only needed stitches and was merely joking about losing his eyesight. Mo Yanchuan handles a call while driving, confirming that his secretary is home resting and will be off work. The dark-haired president asks the person on the line if they are all right during their serious late-night conversation. The gray-haired man reflects on Mo Yanchuan's uncharacteristically frantic behavior when the secretary was first injured earlier today. A haunting flashback shows the bloody secretary, a traumatic memory reflected in the dark-haired man's intense, focused gaze. In a dreamlike void, Mo Yanchuan holds the wounded Xiaoruo, a symbol of the heavy guilt he feels. Morning arrives with a chirp sounding from the birds, as an air conditioner makes a steady vroom sounding nearby. Xiaoru spends his recovery time gaming, organizing his laundry, and failing miserably at cooking a burnt meal. A ding sounding alerts the secretary to a message from President Mo, followed immediately by a deletion notification. Just out of the shower, the shirtless Xiaoruo is confused to find that his boss suddenly deleted his message. The secretary calls Mo Yanchuan to inquire about the deleted text, but the president offers a professional excuse instead. Mo Yanchuan claims he needs a specific contract and announces he is coming over to the apartment right now. A loud ding-dong sounding startles the tan-haired man, who cannot believe his employer has arrived so incredibly quickly. President Mo Yanchuan stands tall at the doorway, looking perfectly composed in his formal dark business suit. Xiaoru, still in his white bathrobe, wonders if the dark-haired man teleported given the impossibly short travel time. Stepping inside, the president observes how tidy and organized the secretary's home is, noting it fits his personality perfectly. As Mo prepares to leave, he notices the tan-haired man struggling to button his shirt with his fractured fingers. Seeing the difficulty, the dark-haired president steps closer and insists on helping his secretary finish dressing for the evening. The atmosphere turns intimate and quiet as Mo Yanchuan carefully begins fastening the buttons on the other man's shirt. President Mo remains deeply focused on the task, his expression serious as he works near the secretary's bare chest. The two men share a tense, lingering look as the proximity between them creates an undeniable and heavy romantic charge. A sudden punch sounding echoes as Mo Yanchuan is hit, reacting with a shock that breaks the intense moment. Mo hunches over in speechless pain while a chibi Xiaoru scolds him for being so weirdly dramatic today. The city remains peaceful and still under the night sky as lights from the apartment buildings glow softly. Looking into the kitchen, the dark-haired man is shocked to find a fridge filled almost entirely with instant meals. Mo Yanchuan is horrified by the expired food boxes, declaring such a poor diet a total blasphemy for a patient. A knock-knock sounding marks a delivery's arrival, and the president takes a large grocery bag to fix the situation. A whoosh sounding from the burner and a sizzle sounding from the pan follow Mo as he begins cooking. The president presents a beautiful and aromatic feast of multiple gourmet dishes, prepared especially for his recovering secretary. Xiaoruo looks down at the meal while his boss reminds him about their previous conversation regarding mutual favors. A flashback shows the tan-haired man suggesting they stop owing each other favors and just maintain a professional distance. Mo Yanchuan explains that because Xiaoru got hurt for his sake, this meal is his way of making amends. Preparing to depart with the contract, the president tells the secretary to call him if he needs any further assistance. A click sounding follows Mo closing the door as he leaves a final, polite goodbye message for the evening. Xiaoru begins eating the delicious, warm meal his boss prepared, feeling touched by the dark-haired man's unexpected kindness. The secretary is surprised when the president suddenly returns, wondering why he has come back so shortly after leaving. Mo Yanchuan signals for a moment of patience before he begins a quick slide motion to reveal a surprise. A soft squeak sounding follows as the president pulls his pet hamster, Little Gray, out of his pocket. Mo explains that he brought the pet over so the homebound secretary won't feel so lonely during his recovery. The table is set with even more delicious food, adding to the comforting and warm environment of the apartment. Reminding him to eat the pudding while it's hot, the president prepares to leave Little Gray behind until tomorrow. Xiaoruo smiles warmly at the tiny hamster, offering it some seeds as the pet responds with a chirp. President Mo Yanchuan offers to leave his goldfish for company, later asking for help with a presentation before cooking. Attempting to gain entry, Mo Yanchuan jokingly claims a robber is chasing him, but Xiaoru remains rightfully skeptical. Night falls over the city as a quick knock-knock sounding follows the dark-haired president standing outside the secretary's door. A heavy silence falls as Mo Young-chuan stands in the hallway, his expression unreadable and focused. Looking weary, the tan-haired secretary stands by the door with visible stitches and a wound on his forehead. Xiaoru answers a call from his mother while the president looms in the background, listening to the conversation. The secretary rejects his mother's offer of vegetables and insists she shouldn't bother coming all the way to visit. A firm press sounding follows Xiao Ruo hanging up on his mother, wanting to avoid any further fuss. Xiao Ruo tells his boss he needs to rest, but a sudden touch sounding breaks his train of thought. Mo Yanchuan places a hand on the secretary's forehead, confirming that the injured man is suffering from a high fever. Inspecting the forehead wound closely, the president worries about infection while Xiao Ru tries to pull away. A freeze sounding reflects Mo Yanchuan's sudden stillness as he locks eyes with his injured, blushing secretary. Xiao Ru firmly requests that his boss respect his personal boundaries and stop interfering in his life outside work. Looking conflicted, the tan-haired man admits he hates the feeling of confusion and fuzziness the president's presence causes him. The secretary questions why Mo Yanchuan returned despite promising to stay away, further complicating his much-needed recovery time. Mo reflects on Zhao Rou's selfless nature and professional distance, realizing he is merely a superior to the man. A haunting memory of an intimate near miss lingers in the air as Mo stares at the secretary's lips. A loud ring 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 sounding from a phone interrupts the heavy, romantic tension shared between the two men. Responding to the rejection, the president walks away, promising the secretary that he will never come back again. Xiao Ruo lies in bed feeling hungry while staring at a digital thermometer that confirms his worsening fever. Clutching his phone, the tan-haired man reflects on the quiet room and the fact that his boss is gone. An open sounding follows the secretary's dazed gaze as he tries to manage his illness alone in the dark. Multiple knock-knock sounding effects echo at the door, pulling the feverish man out of his restless, lonely sleep. A delivery man wearing a yellow rabbit-eared helmet arrives with a bag of food for the sick secretary. Xiao Ruo remains stunned, unable to process why a delivery has arrived at his door in the middle of the night. The delivery man explains that someone else ordered the meal for him, handing over the heavy bag of food. Xiao Ru realizes the order came from his mother's number, and a pull sounding follows him closing the door. The secretary is overwhelmed to find a bag packed with various medicines his mother sent to help him recover. Feeling a wave of guilt, Xiao Ru regrets his harsh words to his mother and decides to call her later. Sitting alone in the dim light, the secretary contemplates the complicated emotions surrounding his isolation and those who care. A freeze sounding punctuates the dark-haired president's intense gaze as he remains deeply affected by his secretary's earlier rejection. In a moments of intense proximity, Mo Yanchuan cradles Xiao Ruo's face, the air between them thick with unspoken longing. The secretary recalls a memory of intimacy, feeling the phantom sensation of the president's hands pulling him close. Xiao Ruo lies awake with a flushed face and glazed eyes, complaining that the room feels unbearably hot. An sounding escapes the secretary as he curls up in bed, shivering from the intensity of his growing fever. Back at the office, employees fret over their workload, admitting they are completely helpless without the efficient secretary Zhao. Mo Yanchuan stands at the office entrance, listening to his staff's complaints while privately worrying about his secretary's health. The dark-haired president wonders if the secretary's fever has broken, fearing the man might be suffering alone at home. Entering the apartment, Mo hears an sounding and realizes Xiao Ruo is in a much worse state than before. A massive slam sounding echoes as Mo Yanchuan kicks open the bedroom door, frantic to find the suffering secretary. Xiao Ruo sits up in bed with his shirt partially open, looking startled and weak as his boss barged in. In a state of pure shock, the tan-haired man shouts his employer's full name, unable to believe he returned. Mo ignores the secretary's protests, leaning over to check his temperature while demanding he stay still for a moment.
The president scolds Xiao Ru for not taking his medicine, questioning if the man was busy doing something else.
A swish sounding follows Mo Yanchuan pulling the blankets aside to check on the secretary's condition more thoroughly. A push sounding occurs as Xiao Ru tries to shove the president away, his face turning bright red with embarrassment. Mo Yangchuan pins the secretary to the bed, apologizing for his behavior while admitting that he is the problem. The president leans in inches away from the secretary's face, suggesting he make it up to him by helping. An unbuttoned sounding follows the dark-haired man's hands moving toward Xiao Ru's chest as the secretary continues to protest. An sounding escapes Xiao Ruo as Mo Yanchuan leans down, pinning him firmly to the mattress in an intimate embrace. The dark-haired president leans over his secretary, whose shirt is open, revealing his athletic physique. Xiao Ru shudders as Mo Yanchuan remains close, the atmosphere thick with an undeniable, heavy tension. A sudden shudder sounding escapes the tan-haired man as his face flushes deeply from the intense, feverish heat. Mo Yanchuan observes his secretary's vulnerability with a serious gaze, lingering in their shared, intimate proximity. The president reflects on his growing desire to overstep professional boundaries as he looks at the blushing man. Claiming it is getting late, the dark-haired man prepares to leave, leaving the secretary visibly surprised and confused. Mo Yangchuan insists the secretary take his medicine, threatening to hire a personal doctor if the fever persists. A quick grab sounding follows Xiao Ruo catching his boss's sleeve, stopping him from departing into the night. With his shirt still open, the tan-haired man questions why the president is leaving him in this condition. The grab sounding repeats as Mo Yangchuan freezes in shock, his eyes wide at the secretary's unexpected touch. Looking conflicted, the president explains that no one will see him leaving the estate at this late hour. Xiao Ru asks for help once more, leaving the dark-haired man completely stunned by the bold request. A swift swoosh sounding fills the room as the momentum of the moment shifts towards something more passionate. A massive boom sounding echoes as heart-shaped fireworks explode, while the president tries to remain composed and cool. The two men find themselves tangled together in bed, the previous professional distance completely dissolved in their embrace. A soft kiss sounding follows as the tan-haired man reassures his boss that he will not leave any marks. Mo Yangchuan lies back with a deep blush, his expression a mix of shock and intense, overwhelming attraction. In a moment of high tension, Xiao Ru requests more cooperation while the dark-haired man stares in disbelief. A loud push sounding follows as Mo Yanchuan protests the role reversal, struggling against the secretary's firm, confident grip. Xiao Ru remains calm and reassuring, insisting he is unhurt, while the president worries about his physical well-being. Looking deeply into Mo Yanchuan's eyes, the tan-haired secretary asks if he can be the one to provide care. A rhythmic smack sounding echoes through the room as the two share an intense and physically demanding, intimate encounter. A sudden ring-ring-ring sounding interrupts the moment as Xiao Ruo realizes his mother is calling his mobile phone. Holding his phone, the tan-haired man tells his boss to stay silent while he answers the incoming call. Mo Yangchuan lies flushed and sweating beneath the sheets as he listens to the secretary speak to his mother. A heavy thrust sounding punctuates the conversation as Xiao Ru calmly lies to his mother about taking his medicine. A frantic smack sounding accompanies the secretary's strained responses to his mother's questions about his recent diet and health. An intense hold sounding follows as Mo Yanchuan reaches his limit, struggling to contain himself during the phone call. Xiao Rou firmly covers the president's mouth to maintain silence while his mother continues talking through the phone. Later, a shirtless Mo Yanchuan sits up to offer water and medicine to the exhausted, face-down secretary. A soft gurgle sounding occurs as the dark-haired man feeds the medicine to Xiao Rou through a shared kiss. Xiao Rou finds the medicine bitter while his boss reminds him that everyone at work is waiting for him. A sharp freeze sounding follows Mo Yanchuan injuring his back, while the sleeping secretary mutters about wanting fried rice. Morning dawns as Xiao Rou returns to the office, wondering if his colleagues are staring at his face. A loud boom sounding marks a confetti-filled surprise as the secretary's staff celebrates his return to the workplace. The blonde-haired Director Tao presents a large cake, welcoming the tan-haired secretary back with a bright, cheerful smile. Feeling touched, Xiao Rou graciously thanks his colleagues for the warm and festive welcome back party they organized. The employees admit how difficult it was to work under the intimidating President Mo during the secretary's absence. Xiao Rou is mortified to find his own face on the cake, while Director Tao offers to cut it. Staff members gossip about the president's absence from the party, unaware that Xiao Rou is listening to them nearby. In the office, the secretary offers a slice of cake to Mo Yanchuan, who coldly rejects the sweet treat. As the office empties, Xiao Rou finishes his overtime work while casting a thoughtful glance toward his boss's desk. Mo Yanchuan remains focused at his desk late into the night, surrounded by a mountain of various business documents. A quick scribble sounding follows the president rubbing his eyes, showing signs of exhaustion from his long work hours. Approaching the desk, the tan-haired man asks if the busy president needs any further assistance with his current tasks. Mo Yantran is startled by the secretary's sudden presence, questioning exactly when the man entered his private office. Xiao Rou holds up a drawing he found, noting that the dark-haired man's artistic skills have significantly improved lately. The president asks why the secretary is still there, as they share a quiet, lingering look in the office. Sitting boldly on the edge of the desk, Xiao Rou announces that he wants to discuss their personal relationship. Mo Yingchuan looks on intensely as the secretary admits they are highly compatible and had a very good time. The tan-haired secretary glances at his boss, starting a serious conversation about the thoughts weighing on his mind. With an intense gaze, the dark-haired president boldly proposes that the two of them try dating each other officially. Xiao Rou questions if the feeling is mutual, as Mo Yanchuan pulls him close in their shared office space. The secretary calls out to his stunned boss, whose face reflects pure shock at the bold direction of their talk. Shouting for attention, the tan-haired man sits on the desk while the president recoils in a mix of surprise and confusion. Xiao Rou makes a provocative offer, suggesting they become partners in a relationship defined by their shared physical desires. A huff sounding escapes Mo Yanchuan as he drinks, listening to the secretary's blunt explanation of a friends with benefits arrangement. The president asks about past experiences, but Xiao Rou admits he has only ever had boyfriends before this moment. Xiao Rou explains that he is only asking his boss because their relationship has already reached a point of deep intimacy. Mo Yangchuan remains seated, skeptically questioning if this new proposal actually changes the nature of their existing complicated dynamic. The president compares the secretary's clinical tone to a business presentation, leaving the tan-haired man visibly stunned by the observation. The scene shifts to a massive, quiet indoor swimming pool where the morning light filters through the glass roof. A sudden splash sounding echoes through the facility as a lone swimmer cuts through the clear blue water. Xiao Rou swims laps while reflecting on how Mo Yanchuan's care during his fever has complicated his desire for distance. A memory of past violence flickers through his mind, showing a younger, tan-haired man aggressively grabbing another person's collar. Standing over a fallen figure, the secretary recalls a darker time before he found his place in the professional world. Under the surface of the water, Xiao Rou continues to swim, his thoughts deeply submerged in his feelings for Mo. The tan-haired man recalls the heat of their shared kiss, acknowledging that their connection has grown beyond simple professional boundaries. A rhythmic smack sounding punctuates his internal admission that he has become completely addicted to their shared physical intimacy. Gripping the pool ladder with a splash sounding, Xiao Ro muses on human greed and the difficulty of letting go. A ding-dong sounding rings from the locker room lockers as a phone notification reminds him of an upcoming business trip. The sun rises over the city's tall office buildings, signaling the start of a busy new workday for the company. Arriving at the office, the dark-haired president ignores his staff's greetings while focused on a call on his mobile phone. Mo Yanchuan snaps at his employees, telling them to make their own decisions instead of bothering him with minor issues. A gray-haired man offers his assistance, but the president looks annoyed by the interruption during his morning routine. Mo Yanchuan observes his staff, secretly wishing they were as efficient and detail-oriented as his absent secretary, Xiao Ruo. The president is confused to find the gray-haired Li wearing the secretary's clothes, acting as a temporary workplace substitute. Mo Yanchuan demands to know Xiao Ruo's whereabouts, only to be reminded that the man is away on business. The dark-haired man becomes irate, possessively claiming his personal secretary should never have been taken away for other duties. Li trembles as he reminds the president that he was the one who personally approved the secretary's business trip earlier. Recalling his own dismissive attitude, Mo Yanchuan realizes his substitute is right and feels a wave of regretful irritation. Slumping in his chair, the president grumpily asks how many days the secretary will be away from the office. Upon hearing it will only be 3 days, Mo Yanchuan seems to cheer up slightly, much to Li's relief. Li notes how tidy the desk is before discovering a handwritten list of instructions left behind by the meticulous secretary. The substitute reads a reminder for the boss to stop scaring the employees with his terrifying and unnatural smiles. Mo Yanchuan coldly dismisses the substitute, his mood souring again as he focuses back on his mountain of paperwork. Forgetting the man is gone, the president looks for Xiaoru again before ordering Li to follow him instead. Office workers watch the exchange with knowing looks, whispering that the president's breakdown over his missing secretary has begun. Staff gossip about Mo Yanchuan's overdependence, noting that this is already the 3rd time today he has looked for Xiao. Mo Yanchuan is frustrated by the disorganized pile of documents Li brought, complaining about the lack of specific marketing reports. Li offers to fix the mess while the president drinks from his thermos, impatient and clearly missing his secretary's efficiency. The president scolds Li for serving hot water, while the substitute explains he followed Xiao Rou's specific instructions for health. Mo Yanchuan orders Li to prepare for a rescheduled meeting with President Wang, his tone remaining sharp and demanding. Dissatisfied with his coffee, the president demands exactly 10 ice cubes, leaving the substitute secretary sweating from the pressure. In a foul mood, Mo Yanchuan berates Li for his slow progress on report forms and the poorly prepared investment plan. Looking completely overwhelmed, the substitute secretary internally begs for Xiaoru to return and end his professional suffering. On a sunny day, several business professionals gather on a sprawling green golf course to play and negotiate deals. A close-up shows a golf club perfectly aligned with a white ball, ready for a high-stakes swing on the grass. A powerful swish sounding follows Xiao Ruo's clean strike as he demonstrates his surprising athletic talent on the course. A woman praises the secretary's skills and looks, leading the group to take a break for tea and business talk. Xiao Ru follows President Wu and her colleague up the stairs of a grand, art-filled residence. A soft, amused pooft sounding escapes the tan-haired secretary as he catches sight of something funny. Questioned about his amusement, Xiao Ruo mentions the children's drawings, which President Wu proudly attributes to her daughters. Looking at the sketches, the secretary notes they strongly remind him of a certain someone's unique artistic style. President Wu smiles warmly, happy to hear that someone else shares her children's hobby for drawing.
Xiaoru continues to observe the wall, still struck by how much the art resembles Mo Yanchuan's work. A faint smile touches his lips as he begins to mentally compare the boss to a child. Xiaoru recalls Mo Yanchuan's intense focus while drawing and internally cringes at the embarrassing comparison.
During their business meeting, a child's frantic call for help interrupts the professional conversation between the two adults.
A rhythmic step sounding accompanies the arrival of two young girls arguing over playing house versus drawing.
President Wu gently scolds her daughters for interrupting, while the younger girl complains about having no playmate. The gray-haired younger daughter stubbornly demands that her blonde older sister stop drawing and play house with her.
The atmosphere turns dramatic as the little girl threatens to stop liking her sister if she is ignored.
Xiaoru watches the sibling conflict unfold as the younger sister continues her loud and insistent demands. Clearly exhausted by the badgering, the blonde-haired sister sighs and finally agrees to play with her sibling. While President Wu apologizes for the chaos, the girls continue to clash over their conflicting afternoon plans. Reaching out, a gentle pat sounding follows as Xiaoru places a calming hand on the younger girl's head. Surprised by the sudden physical contact, the gray-haired girl looks up and asks what the secretary is doing. Flashing a charming smile, the tan-haired man offers to be the girl's playmate so her sister can draw.
The little girl stares in wide-eyed shock, seemingly captivated by the secretary's kind and unexpected proposal.
President Wu enters the room and is stunned to find the professional secretary in a very different state. Fully committed to the role, Xiaoru wears purple ears and play acts with the young girl's magic wand. The secretary laughs off the mother's apologies, while the little girl triumphantly declares her mom is the villain. President Wu instructs her daughter to wait outside, promising to play once her business discussion with Xiao concludes.
The little girl remains skeptical, casting a doubtful and pouty look back toward her busy mother.
After concluding their talk, President Wu shakes hands with her associate, officially finalizing their new business cooperation.
As they share snacks, Xiaoru asks why the older sister is always forced to accommodate the younger one.
President Wu explains the older girl gives in because she knows her little sister is deeply reliant on her. Xiaoru's expression becomes thoughtful as he considers the parallels between the sisters and his own complex relationship. He imagines himself sitting on the desk, wondering if Mo Yanchuan is truly comfortable with their current arrangement. President Wu warns that taking advantage of someone's sincerity for personal gain will eventually lead to regret.
Back at the office, the substitute Li delivers documents to the president's desk, looking nervous and weary.
Li is scandalized to see a drink, but a grumpy Mo Yanchuan tells him to be quiet. The substitute points out Rule 8 against drinking, but the president dismisses the missing secretary's list entirely. A sharp ding-dong sounding from Li's phone interrupts the tension, drawing the substitute's immediate attention. Li gasps at the screen, while the president continues to drink, unaware of the news on the phone. Overwhelmed with joy, the gray-haired substitute secretary celebrates the miracle he just read on his mobile device. Li excitedly announces that a flight change means Xiaoru is returning to the office much earlier. Mo Yanchuan looks on with suspicion, asking why the substitute seems far happier than him about the news.
Night falls over the city, where the quiet streets and illuminated apartment windows create a peaceful atmosphere.
Lugging his suitcase, Zhao Ruo checks his watch upon arriving home, surprised by the late hour. The secretary spots Mo Yanchuan in workout gear, leading to a confused exchange about their late-night meeting.
With a serious expression, the dark-haired president explains that he just happened to be passing by during a run.
Xiao Ruo questions the logic of a midnight jog, while the president stubbornly insists there is nothing unusual. Approaching the boss, the tan-haired man begins a series of deep sniff soundings to investigate a suspicion.
Xiao Rou leans in close to the president's chest, continuing his thorough sniff sounding with focused intensity. A rhythmic badoom sounding punctuates the tension as the secretary asks Mo Yanchuan if he has been drinking. A melodic chirp sounding fills the air as the two men sit on a park bench under the moonlight. Mo Yanchuan asks about the trip, and Xiao Rou confirms the successful completion of the business contract. Gazing into the night, the secretary reflects on his return, while the president stays quiet by his side. Silence hangs over the park as the two men sit together on a bench under the dark night sky. Mo Yanchuan stares at his folded hands, fixated on the weight of a conversation they had before the trip. Xiao Rou dismissively suggests forgetting the past, but the black-haired president remains visibly unsettled by the sudden emotional distance. Looking away, the tan-haired secretary finally drops the bombshell that he intends to leave the company for good. Xiao Rou explains that resigning was a difficult choice, but he believes it is the most logical path forward. Shadows stretch across the pavement as the light from a nearby street lamp illuminates their increasingly tense and silent standoff. Mo Yangchuan's frustration boils over as he questions if this sudden resignation is some kind of cruel psychological game. Springing to his feet, the president refuses to accept the resignation, citing the immense time required to find replacements. A drop of sweat rolls down Xiao Rou's face as he absorbs the boss's desperate and stubborn refusal. Looking down with a sharp gaze, Mo Yanchuan proposes an unconventional friends with benefits arrangement to keep him. Xiao Rou stares back in disbelief, assuming the president must be heavily intoxicated to make such a scandalous suggestion. Ignoring the protest, a series of quick click soundings follow as the president prepares to light his cigarette. Mo Yangchuan stares intensely through a cloud of smoke, demanding to be invited into the secretary's home right now. A loud bang sounding echoes as the door closes, and the two men tumble onto the bed together. Panting heavily, Xiao Rou notes the president's unexpected eagerness while biting a small wrapper during their heated encounter. I cannot read that text. A sharp smack sounding punctuates the air as their bodies collide with increasing intensity throughout the late-night tryst. Mo Yangchuan's face is flushed with heat and exertion, his usual cold demeanor replaced by the night's raw vulnerability. A soft, breathy ha sounding escapes as Xiao Rou pins the president against the window overlooking the city lights. Morning light filters in at 7:02 a.m., finding a weary Xiao Rou stirring under the sheets as Tuesday begins. A sharp pain sounding in his back stops the secretary in his tracks as he attempts to sit up. Still in bed, Xiao Rou reminds his boss that despite the night's events, they both still have work. In the office lobby, a blonde-haired woman freezes in shock after spotting the two men arriving together so closely. The woman's eyes widen as she observes the president and secretary conversing, her suspicion reaching a fever pitch. Hiding behind a wall, the employee worries that something suspicious is brewing between the boss and his returned secretary. During a break, the two men seem unusually domestic while comparing a phone image of a hamster to another. A sudden thud sounding follows as a cup is placed down during a presentation on regional market trends. Xiao Rou calmly sips his coffee while Mo Yanchuan watches him with an intensity that borders on being predatory. After setting his drink down, the secretary ignores the president's heavy gaze, focusing instead on the task at hand. Xiao Rou flashes a polite, apologetic smile, seemingly oblivious to the palpable tension radiating from the black-haired man beside him. Late at night, a distinct suck sounding emanates from beneath the desk as the president remains hidden from view. A rhythmic glog sounding joins the previous noises as Xiao Rou sits atop the desk, overlooking the city. "Ah, that hurts," Xiao Rou exclaims, causing the black-haired president to freeze in a state of visible shock. Looking down at the man between his knees, Xiao Rou asks if his formidable boss is feeling a bit nervous.
Reassuring the man that they are alone, Xiaoru urges him to hurry up and finish their business.
The room is filled with several heavy glog soundings as the two men continue their secret and scandalous encounter.
Xiaoru leans forward, his face flushed red as he maintains eye contact with the man working below. Mo Yangchuan looks up with a dazed, flushed expression, his hand partially covering his mouth in a moment of surrender.
The secretary offers to help clean up, but the president irritably demands to be left alone after the session.
The exterior of the luxurious apartment building remains quiet and still as the night finally draws to a close.
Xiaoru reflects on how frequently they've engaged in intimacy since agreeing to their new friends with benefits arrangement. He notes how the president always pulls away afterward, worrying if Mo Yangchuan is actually aware of his feelings. Mo Yangchuan sits on the edge of the bed and notices the meticulous department evaluation report Xiaoru completed. After watching Xiaoru sleep with a hamster, a quick switch-off sounding follows as Mo Yangchuan turns out the light. The morning sun shines on the Yuji shop as employees exchange a series of cheerful good morning greetings. Mo Yangchuan approaches the counter, where the blonde shopkeeper asks if he would like to order his usual today.
A single, silent nod sounding is the only response the stoic president gives to confirm his breakfast order.
Carrying bags of food, the black-haired man leaves the shop as the staff politely asks him to come again.
Looking serious as ever, Mo Yangchuan makes his way through the city streets during the busy morning commute.
Xiaoru greets his boss with a bright smile, acting as if their intimate night together was just a dream. Mo Yangchuan hands a bag of breakfast to Xiaoru, who accepts the morning meal with a polite thanks. The president explains his breakfast choices by claiming to be a regular customer at the local food stall. While watching the secretary eat, Mo Yangchuan reflects on a strange behavioral pattern he recently noticed about him.
Through various dinner parties and meals, the president observes Xiaoru's inconsistent appetite and tendency to finish last. Mo Yangchuan wonders if Xiaoru has a psychological compulsion to eat every bit of food he is served. Feeling a pang of guilt, the president admits to himself that he is using the secretary as a food experiment. A rhythmic badoom sounding heightens the tension as the two men lock eyes during an intensely quiet moment. Xiaoru looks exhausted while holding a cup of soy milk, questioning the necessity of the daily beverage. Mo Yangchuan fondly recalls the secretary's previous enthusiasm for the drink, despite his currently cold and distant demeanor. Dismissing the gesture, the president informs Xiaoru of an upcoming virtual meeting he must attend alone. In the office, employees gossip about Xiaoru's frequent morning sickness as he rushes toward the restroom. The towering glass skyscraper of the corporate office stands prominently against the bright and clear morning sky. A silver-haired man checks his phone in the office, distracted by a message about a new video game. Frustrated by the lack of response, the silver-haired man calls Xiaoru to demand why he's being ignored. He questions if Xiaoru is working late because he is hooking up with the president every single day. The caller warns that Mo Yangchuan likely views their arrangement as purely physical, suggesting the president isn't a good person. He urges Xiaoru not to be fooled by the boss's charms, citing a bros before hoes philosophy. Xiaoru listens in silence, his expression unreadable as his friend continues to rail against the president's character. A wave of shock washes over the silver-haired man as he suddenly recognizes Mo Yangchuan's voice in the background. Xiaoru's mouth is shown in close-up as he responds with a confused sound to the caller's sudden silence. Still at his desk, Xiaoru insists he is busy working while Mo Yangchuan's hand offers him an apple. Mo Yangchuan presents the large fruit, claiming it took him a significant amount of time just to wash it. Back at home, the silver-haired man lies on his bed, scrolling through his phone to escape his boredom. He is thrilled when a girl he follows replies to him instantly, bringing a bright smile to his face. He immediately regrets his next message, worrying it sounds too suggestive and contemplating whether he should delete it. Multiple ding soundings alert him to new posts from Peachy, a pink-haired live streamer posing playfully for the camera. His hand grips the phone tightly as he stares at the screen, captivated by the girl's cheerful and cute photos. In the office, the blonde-haired director Tao approaches Xiaoru, surprised to see the secretary still working so late. Tao gives a playful wink while explaining his own late-night presence, though the interaction remains light and professional. The director asks if something happened to the president recently, noting a strange shift in his cold boss's attitude. Tao reports that Mo Yanchuan has back pain but seems happy, causing Xiaoru to break into a nervous sweat. Xiaoru is stunned to hear that the usually stoic president actually went out of his way to say hello. The tan-haired secretary suggests the improved mood is simply due to successful business negotiations with the S Group. Director Tao accepts the explanation with a charming smile, though a hint of curiosity remains in his bright eyes. A sharp ding sounding signals a new message on a nearby phone, prompting the blonde director to take his leave. Xiaoru's eyes widen in absolute shock as he sees a TikTok notification from Peachy on his own device. Director Tao waves goodbye, playfully warning Xiaoru not to stay too late and break his heart. A quick click sounding follows as the office door shuts, leaving the secretary alone with his frantic and confused thoughts. Mo Yanchuan summons Xiaoru to his side, asking him to review CCTV footage regarding recent reports of missing items. The group gathers around a laptop, discussing a string of computer thefts that have occurred in nearby office buildings. The grainy security footage reveals a stray cat wandering through the office halls with a stolen object in its mouth. They are amused to find the cat has a taste for expensive items, specifically picking up a high-end stylus. While the president complains about pets in the office, the surveillance screen shows a couple embracing in the corner. The CCTV captures a lingering, intimate moment between two employees, drawing the immediate focus of everyone in the room. Mo Yanchuan turns to Xiaoru with an accusatory look, asking why the secretary decided to zoom in on them. The female employee is shocked to recognize the couple as Qian and Tian, while the president remains visibly annoyed. Embarrassed, Xiaoru quickly shuts the laptop with a sharp snap, urging everyone to get back to their actual work. Later, Xiaoru reviews the schedule for a representative from F Group, but the president remains silent and distracted. The secretary asks if Mo Yanchuan is okay, as the black-haired man stares at him with an intense, unreadable gaze. Mo Yanchuan finally confesses his distraction, noting that Xiaoru has been noticeably avoiding kissing him lately. The tan-haired secretary stares forward with a neutral, slightly distant expression as he reflects on his situation. In the quiet office, the black-haired president emphasizes the professional nature of their current arrangement to his secretary. Mo Yanchuan observes that Xiaoru has become much more expressive since they established their unconventional relationship. Xiaoru questions if the president is actually afraid of real romantic feelings developing between them. Maintaining his professional mask, the secretary offers further assistance before preparing to return to his duties. The black-haired man dismisses him curtly, turning his focus back to the documents scattered across his desk. Near the office lobby, Xiaoru observes Director Tao interacting with another employee, his curiosity clearly piqued. Back at his computer, the tan-haired man uses the mouse to perform a series of digital photo edits. Comparing a photo of the blonde director to a live streamer on his phone, a startling suspicion takes root. Shock colors Xiaoru's face as he concludes that Director Tao and the pink-haired Peachy are the same person. He tries to convince himself it's just advanced filters, determined to investigate the director's secret life further. By digitally adding a dress and wig to the director's photo, the secretary confirms the two identities match perfectly. A sudden boom sounding echoes as lightning flashes, while the blonde director mysteriously appears behind the startled secretary. Director Tao casually comments on the girl's style shown on the screen, oblivious to the secretary's internal panic. The scene shifts to a modern cafe area where the two men sit down for a private conversation. Tao admits to his double life as a cross-dressing live streamer,
explaining that he simply enjoys the reactions he receives.
The blonde man offers to dress up especially for Zhao Ruo, who looks increasingly uncomfortable with the proposition. Declining the offer, Zhao Ruo mentions a friend who is a devoted fan of Tao's online persona.
Zhao Ru smiles mischievously, realizing he can use this secret to stop his friend's annoying habits once and for all.
Tao warmly invites the secretary to his home for dinner and a promised selfie together after work.
Their plan is finalized as a sharp ding sounding alerts the secretary to a new notification on his device.
Arriving at the luxurious apartment, Xiao Rou is annoyed to find he brought groceries out of sheer habit.
While the secretary examines the live streaming setup, Tao warns him to be careful with the specialized equipment.
Unbeknownst to them, a notification confirms that a new live stream has officially begun as Xiao Rou watches. As Xiao Rou cooks, the live chat explodes with shocked comments from fans seeing a strange man in the kitchen. The city skyline remains illuminated under the night sky as the secret encounter continues within the high-rise building. Parked on a city street, Mo Yanchuan smokes a cigarette while distractedly checking his phone in the back seat. Bright traffic lights and directional signs stand out against the darkening urban landscape during the evening commute.
The driver asks about the secretary's absence, to which the black-haired president responds with characteristic brevity.
Tension rises as the driver reports seeing Xiao Ru leave the office in Director Tao's car earlier that day. Mo Yanchuan's stoic expression falters slightly at the news of his secretary's extracurricular activities with the blonde director. The driver continues his report while the president takes a long, contemplative drag from his lit cigarette. Lost in thought, Mo Yanchuan stares out the window as wisps of smoke curl through the interior of the car. Tao makes a grand entrance into the room, now fully transformed into Peachy, wearing a frilly maid outfit. The pink-haired director freezes in horror as thick plumes of smoke begin to fill the modern kitchen. A close-up reveals a pan filled with unidentifiable, dark chunks of meat that appeared to be severely burnt. Tao instructs the secretary to help set the table, though his enthusiasm for the meal has clearly evaporated. 2 plates of the charred, unappetizing food are presented, casting a grim shadow over their dinner plans. Looking at the burnt offerings, the pink-haired man expresses a very reasonable fear of suffering from food poisoning. Tao's eyes widen in alarm as he considers the culinary disaster his guest has prepared for them. The live stream continues as fans flood the chat with accusations and heartbreak over Peachy's supposed secret boyfriend. Concerned viewers notice the kitchen smoke, jokingly wondering if the mysterious man is trying to burn the house down.
Putting on her bubbly online persona, Peachy reassures her fans before preparing to face the disastrous dinner.
Tao informs a confused Xiao Ruo that a live stream was accidentally running the entire time he was cooking. The pink-haired director explains that the audience is now clamoring to see the secretary appear on camera with her. Xiao Ruo proudly presents his work, seemingly oblivious to how unpalatable the charred meat actually looks to others. Tao tactfully suggests ordering takeout instead, much to the annoyance of the secretary who worked hard on the meal. Time passes as the morning sun shines brightly over the towering glass and steel office buildings.
Tao relentlessly begs the secretary to join a live stream, but Xiao Ru remains steadfast in his refusal.
The blonde director resorts to cute nya sounds and pleading eyes, yet the tan-haired man is completely unmoved.
Director Tao looks completely stunned by the unexpected turn of events.
The blonde-haired man explains the truth of what happened during the previous week. On her phone, Peachy promises to bring her guest cook back if the stream hits a huge milestone. Tao reveals that the goal was met, and the fans are now demanding the promised appearance. Xiao Ru tells the director he dug this hole himself and should deal with the fans alone. A female employee walks into the office and is shocked to see the 2 men in a compromising position.
Xiaoro desperately tries to explain that the situation is not what it looks like to their coworker. The tan-haired secretary feels incredibly nervous as a system notification confirms his live stream has officially begun. He sets up the camera and tripod in the kitchen while checking his phone for final instructions. Viewers immediately flood the chat with compliments about the handsome new cook appearing on screen. The viewer count quickly surges past 1,300 as the online audience grows.
Xiaoru looks stiff and awkward while the stream count continues to climb even higher. The scene shifts to the luxury apartment building, standing tall under the dark evening sky. Mo Yangchuan relaxes on his couch in a white robe, distractedly scrolling through his phone with a drink. A social media post from Peachy encourages her fans to support Chef Xiao during his special stream. The kitchen fills with smoke as Xiaoro accidentally burns the meat while the chat watches in confusion. Mo Yanchuan suddenly spits out his drink in a messy pft sounding as he watches the video. The black-haired president is horrified to recognize his own secretary on the livestream screen.
Xiaoro presents his charred, unappetizing culinary creation to the skeptical online audience.
Mean comments about his lack of cooking talent begin to deflate the secretary's confidence.
He continues his attempt at cooking while the chat explodes with laughter at his struggle.
Xiaoro proudly presents a bowl of chocolate-covered bananas that looks utterly unpalatable to the viewers.
The stream erupts with multiple loud toot soundings as a wealthy fan sends a massive cruise ship gift.
The secretary is baffled by the sudden high-value support from a mysterious new viewer in the chat.
He politely asks the sender to stop sending expensive gifts and just participate in the conversation.
Looking at the comments, he is surprised to see how many people are actually supporting his efforts. Mo Yanchuan takes a long drag from his cigarette, realizing the connection between his secretary and the TikToker. A crisp click sounding echoes as Xiao Ruo arrives home late, greeted warmly by the waiting president.
Mo Yangchuan asks what he is doing there, to which the secretary offers a flirtatious response.
The black-haired man looks skeptical as he stares down at the fresh ingredients prepared on the counter. Xiaoru admits he wants to learn how to cook real home-style meals from the president.
He secretively worries about hiding his newfound live streaming activities from his cold and observant boss.
Mo Yanchuan dismisses the chatter and instructs the secretary to lower his head. A quick tie sounding follows as the president carefully secures an apron around Xiaoru's waist.
They stand together in the modern kitchen, preparing to begin their private cooking lesson.
The president decides to teach a classic shredded pork dish, starting with the basic preparation of the meat. Xiao Ru takes the knife and prepares to make his first cut under the president's watchful eye.
Mo Yangchuan stands close by, observing the secretary's every move with an intense and unreadable focus.
The pressure of the president's gaze makes the tan-haired man feel increasingly self-conscious about his skills.
Mo Yangchuan stops him immediately, pointing out that his cutting technique is completely wrong.
Leaning in close behind him, the president explains that the slices are uneven and too rough.
The black-haired man guides the secretary's hands, warning him to grip the handle firmly to avoid injury.
Xiao Ru is startled by the sudden intimate proximity and the steady guidance of the president's hands.
Rhythmic slice soundings fill the kitchen as the meat is perfectly prepared under the boss's direction. Mo continues to guide the motions from behind, explaining that meat requires more finesse than vegetables.
The quiet kitchen remains filled with the steady sound of multiple slice soundings as they work in unison.
Xiaoru admires how the busy president managed to become so skilled at culinary arts.
Mo Yangchuan asks why he is being so curious, while the secretary insists it is just harmless interest.
The president reveals he learned the dish by watching a family helper when he was a young boy.
Mo Yangchuan admits he actually dislikes savory food, despite it being the very first dish he ever mastered.
Mo Yanchuan explains that his father would always have a helper prepare this specific dish. Xiao Ru admits he has never heard his boss speak about his family before now.
A close-up captures the black-haired man's intense, unreadable gaze as he remains silent after the remark.
Letting out a pained ouch, the tan-haired secretary accidentally cuts his finger during the lesson.
Mo Yanchuan offers to inspect the wound, but a worried Xiao Ruo fears it is quite deep. The president dismisses the injury as a mere scratch, ignoring the secretary's frantic search for a first aid box.
Xiao Ruo watches in shock as the black-haired man casually sucks on his bleeding finger.
Pulling his hand back, the tan-haired man scolds his boss for doing something so unhygienic in the kitchen. After applying a Band-Aid, Xiao Ru mentions his sister recently bought a large supply of them for him. Mo Yanchuan looks skeptical as the secretary asks for the next set of cooking instructions. The black-haired man dictates the exact sauce measurements while Xiao Ruo carefully prepares the mixture. Xiao Ruo expresses his genuine amazement that the busy president has memorized every step of the complex recipe. Mo Yangchuan suggestively remarks that they can find other things to do while alone in the kitchen. Taken aback by the unexpected comment, the tan-haired man asks the president to repeat himself. Mo Yanchuan quickly averts his eyes, dismissing his own words as if they were never spoken. A week later, a live stream of the finished dish earns praise from thousands of curious viewers. Multiple loud toot soundings play as a wealthy fan sends 10 massive cruise ship gifts to Chef Xiao. The chat explodes with comments about the authentic sauce and the mysterious fan's incredible spending spree.
Checking his phone, Xiao Ruo warmly thanks a returning fan for their consistent and generous support.
With a bright smile, the tan-haired man waves to his audience as the successful stream concludes. He feels a surge of pride, realizing Mo Yanchuan's tutoring led to a landslide of viewer praise. A new notification from Mo Yanchuan arrives, asking the secretary what he wants to learn next. The black-haired president smiles to himself while distractedly checking his device during a formal family dinner. At the table, the older man asks why the president is grinning so widely at his phone. Offering a brief apology, Mo Yanchuan sets his device down to focus on the family meal. His aunt notes how rare his smile is, wondering aloud if he has finally met someone. The elegant woman leans forward, directly asking the black-haired man if he has fallen in love. While the older man mentions company management, the aunt defends Mo Yangchuan, insisting he doesn't fool around. She serves him more food, and the president politely accepts while thanking his attentive auntie. The dining room falls into a quiet lull as the family continues their meal in silence. The aunt mentions that Mo's older brother, Xiao Yuan, will be visiting the city next month. Mo Yangchuan is surprised he wasn't informed, but the woman cites Xiao Yuan's busy school schedule. A household helper enters the room carrying a large plate of the dish Mo recently taught. A sharp put-down sounding signals the arrival of the family's favorite meal at the table. The women discuss Xiao Yuan's success in oil painting and his upcoming exhibition in the city. The black-haired man looks down at his meal, lost in deep thought regarding his brother's return. Elsewhere, a gray-haired man walks through a crowded restaurant with a younger child in tow. Sitting alone, the gray-haired man attempts to send a gift to Peachy, but lacks sufficient balance. He stares at his phone in utter disbelief, unable to process his sudden lack of funds. The waitress looks annoyed as the man orders yet another bowl of plain rice without any sides. A sudden stand-up sounding echoes as the gray-haired man spots something interesting across the room. His eyes widen with a fierce, hungry intensity as he focuses on a nearby target. He gazes longingly at a table covered in uneaten food, his stomach clearly overriding his pride. Approaching a couple, he asks to take their leftovers before being interrupted by a low voice. A hand lands on the gray-haired man's shoulder as a polite voice interrupts his food-snatching plan. Xiao Ru reveals himself with a terrifyingly dark smile, asking the man what he is doing. The scene shifts to a fast food joint where various patrons are busy eating and scrolling. A loud wolfing down sounding follows as the gray-haired man ravenously devours a large hamburger.
He begins to choke, letting out an ack before multiple glug 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 soundings follow. After a heavy thump sounding, the man demands more fries while Xiaoru watches him in disbelief. A small boy points out a man eating like a monster while his mother tells him to ignore it.
Crumpled napkins and empty containers litter the table after a chaotic and fast-paced fast food meal.
Xiaoru questions his silver-haired companion about spending his entire savings just to support a streamer named Peachy. The silver-haired man shamelessly admits his obsession while pointing out Xiaoru's own benefactor situation with his boss. He notes how Xiaoru has been busy lately, jokingly asking if he's jealous of Mo Yanchuan's attention. Demanding answers, the silver-haired man asks how Xiaoruo originally met the famous and beautiful Peachy in person. A sharp ding sounding emphasizes the man's suspicion when Xiaoru accidentally refers to Peachy as a man. Xiaoruo quickly corrects himself with a nervous laugh, internally panicking while trying to hide his secret. The silver-haired man gushes over Peachy's angelic beauty, completely unaware of the reality behind the online persona. Xiaoru looks increasingly awkward as he thinks about the actual, far more complicated identity of the blonde streamer. The silver-haired man breaks down in tears, imagining a tragic, Cinderella-like backstory for his favorite online star. While his friend wails over fictional hardships, Xiaoruo silently notes that Peachy's clothes are incredibly expensive. The scene shifts to the bright exterior of a restaurant called Tasty Delights on a clear day. Inside, a light brown-haired woman works as a server, cheerfully attending to various customers throughout the busy establishment. A sudden ding-dong sounding announces the arrival of a new customer as a buzz-cut man enters the restaurant. The light brown-haired woman looks up, her expression turning serious as she recognizes the person who just arrived. She serves a hearty bowl of noodles, dismissively telling the man that beggars can't be choosers regarding the meat. While bringing beers, the woman discusses her son Xiao Nuo's new job and her plans for a blind date. The buzz-cut man reminds her of Xiao Nuo's past depression, suggesting he might have suffered a severe heartbreak before. A close-up reveals the woman's contemplative and worried gaze as she listens to the man's concerns about her son. The man speculates that Xiao Nuo might be too shy to discuss his personal life due to his upbringing. The woman rests her head on her hand, firmly stating that there is no need to worry about him. Multiple boom-boom soundings echo her internal frustration as she glares at the man across the small table. Unbothered by her intensity, the buzz-cut man gives a cheerful thumbs up while continuing to enjoy his meal.
Mo Yangchuan concludes a business call in his dark office before reaching out to check a specific mobile app.
The black-haired president relaxes with a cigarette, focused entirely on the live stream displayed on his phone's glowing screen. He watches Xiaoruo's cooking stream, where a mix of praise and harsh criticism from viewers fills the screen. The comment section becomes a battlefield as fans defend the chef's efforts against those demanding to see Peachy. A user named Xiao's the Best begins aggressively defending the chef, even suggesting the host kick out the haters.
Mo Yanchuan looks deeply suspicious, annoyed that another fan is echoing the very thoughts he has in mind.
Multiple toot-toot soundings erupt as the mysterious fan sends 30 massive cruise ship gifts to the shocked secretary. The president stares in utter disbelief at the screen, his face darkening as he realizes he has been surpassed. Staring at the gift list, Mo Yanchuan is horrified to see he has been overtaken as the top supporter. Xiaoruo beams at his audience, warmly thanking the generous fan for their overwhelming and consistent support during the stream. Determined to regain his rank, Mo Yanchuan sends 10 ships, accompanied by several more loud toot-toot soundings. The live stream ends, leaving the president alone to wonder who this persistent rival is and what they truly want.
Still smoking, the black-haired man remains lost in thought at his desk,
clearly bothered by the mysterious new competitor.
The next morning, Zhao Ruo informs his boss that they have half an hour before their next scheduled meeting.
As Mo Yangchuan prepares to leave, the tan-haired secretary suddenly tells him to wait, catching the president off guard. Xiao Ruo steps in close, gently reaching up to adjust the president's crooked tie with a focused expression. He carefully straightens the silk fabric while Mo Yanchuan stands perfectly still, allowing the secretary to fix his appearance. A close-up captures Xiao Ruo's intense concentration as he meticulously ensures the knot is perfectly aligned and professional.
Mo Yanchuan watches him, silently reminding himself that they do not share the kind of relationship this gesture implies.
Despite his cold logic, the black-haired man looks stunned by the sudden and intimate proximity of his loyal secretary.
The tan-haired man continues the adjustment, his fingers grazing the president's collar in a moment of quiet, focused domesticity.
Xiao Ruo's hands linger on the president's lapels as he finishes the task, oblivious to the boss's internal conflict.
Stepping back with a bright and satisfied smile, the secretary proudly announces that the tie is now perfectly fixed.
Mo Yangchuan suddenly reaches out and firmly grabs Xiao Ruo's wrist, surprising the younger man with his sudden movement. The president maintains a stoic and unreadable expression as he tells the secretary it is time for them to go.
As they walk, Xiao Ruo grumbles about being ignored while his boss remains silent and focused on the path ahead.
Looking over the office, Xiao Ruo notes that the overworked employees have been acting like mindless zombies lately. As they walk, the tan-haired secretary tells Mo Yanchuan that he feels something should be done for the staff.
The black-haired president questions what their company does, leading Xiao Ruo to explain that they specialize in electronics.
Mo Yangchuan explains that recharging is vital for electronics, implying that his exhausted employees also need time to recover.